Hello, dear friends. Thank you for choosing to spend a peaceful moment here with me tonight. Before we begin, please find a comfortable place to sit or lie down. Gently lower your volume to a soothing level and allow yourself to relax fully. Close your eyes if you wish, and take a deep breath as we slowly drift into another timeless story. Now let us journey back in time and explore forgotten kings of ancient Mesopotamia. Get ready to be softly carried by the echoes of ancient empires and the quiet power of long-lost rulers. Let's begin. Imagine, if you will, the vast and fertile lands between two great rivers, the Tigris and the Euphrates, where some of the earliest human civilizations flourished thousands of years ago. This ancient region, known as Mesopotamia, is often called the cradle of civilization, where the seeds of culture, law, and governance were first sown. Picture sprawling cities built from sun-baked bricks, their towering ziggurats reaching toward the heavens, symbols of divine power and earthly rule. The streets buzzed with merchants, artisans, priests, and scribes, each playing a vital role in the complex tapestry of city life. Yet beyond the famous rulers and well-known empires, there are stories of forgotten kings, leaders whose names have faded from history, but whose influence shaped the course of civilization in subtle and enduring ways. Imagine a king whose reign was marked by peace and prosperity, yet whose memory is lost to time, remembered only through scattered inscriptions and the echoes of legends. These forgotten kings ruled over city-states like Uruk, Ur, and Lagash, each with their own customs, gods, and struggles. Visualize the rituals performed in great temples, where priests invoked divine favor for their city and king, hoping to ensure bountiful harvests and protection from enemies. The politics of Mesopotamia were intricate and often turbulent. Alliances forged and broken, wars waged over land and resources, and the constant balancing act between human ambition and divine will. Imagine councils of elders advising their kings, scribes recording events on clay tablets, and citizens navigating a world shaped by gods and kings alike. As you settle into this story, let the ancient landscape, the flowing rivers, fertile fields, and mud-brick cities envelop you. Allow yourself to be gently carried back to a time of forgotten kings and timeless legacies, where the foundations of civilization were quietly laid beneath the endless sky. As the morning sun rises over the fertile plains of Mesopotamia, the ancient cities begin to stir with life. Imagine the soft light illuminating the mud-brick walls of Uruk and Ur, their towering ziggurats casting long shadows over bustling marketplaces and quiet courtyards. The kings of these city-states wielded power that was both divine and earthly. They were seen as mediators between gods and men, entrusted with maintaining order and prosperity. Visualize a king adorned in richly embroidered robes, his crown gleaming under the sun, standing before a gathering of priests and nobles as offerings are made to the city's patron deity. Yet for many rulers, their names have slipped into obscurity, their deeds lost to the ravages of time and the destruction of ancient records. Imagine inscriptions etched on clay tablets, half erased by centuries of sand and weather, hinting at stories of diplomacy, war, and governance long forgotten by modern history. The politics of Mesopotamia were a delicate dance. City-states competed fiercely, yet they also forged alliances through marriage, trade, and religion. Picture emissaries traveling between cities, bearing gifts and messages, weaving a web of relationships that could shift the balance of power overnight. Life under these kings was a blend of ritual and labor, farmers tending the rich alluvial soil, artisans crafting intricate jewelry and pottery, scribes preserving the history of their people in cuneiform script. Visualize the rhythmic flow of the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, their waters vital for irrigation and life, and the seasonal floods that both nurtured and challenged the ancient civilization. The forgotten kings left behind legacies in the form of architectural marvels, temples, palaces, and city walls that still whisper stories to those who listen carefully. Imagine walking through the ruins, feeling the weight of history beneath your feet, the faint echoes of ceremonies and proclamations carried on the wind. As you settle deeper into this tale, let the sounds and sights of ancient Mesopotamia, flowing rivers, chanting priests, the clatter of marketplace activity, envelop you. Allow yourself to be gently carried back to a world of forgotten kings, timeless traditions, and the silent shaping of human history beneath the vast, endless sky. As the sun climbs higher over the Mesopotamian plains, the ancient cities hum with the rhythm of daily life, farmers tending to fertile fields irrigated by the life-giving rivers, merchants setting out their wares in bustling markets, and priests preparing sacred rites to honor the gods. Imagine the intricate system of canals and dikes built by the kings and their engineers, carefully managing the waters of the Tigris and Euphrates to sustain the growth of crops and the survival of their people. The kings themselves were much more than rulers. They were seen as divine agents, chosen to maintain balance between the human and the divine. Visualize a regal monarch seated upon a carved throne of cedar wood, draped in fine textiles, his presence commanding respect and reverence as he listens to the council of priests and advisors. Yet despite their power, many of these kings are lost to history, names obscured by the sands of time, their stories fragmented and scattered across damaged tablets and crumbling monuments. Imagine archaeologists painstakingly uncovering clay tablets inscribed with cuneiform, each symbol a whisper of diplomacy, conquest, or religious devotion that once shaped the destiny of city-states like Uruk, Ur, and Lagash. The politics of the era were complex and ever-shifting. City-states often found themselves in conflict over fertile lands and trade routes, but alliances forged through marriage and mutual defense were just as common. Picture emissaries traveling dusty roads, bearing gifts and messages, their journey fraught with danger but critical for the delicate balance of power in the region. Artisans flourished under the patronage of kings, creating exquisite jewelry, pottery, and statues that reflected both the spiritual beliefs and worldly ambitions of their time. Visualize workshops filled with skilled craftsmen, their hands shaping gold and clay into objects that would be treasured for centuries, silent testaments to the culture that once thrived here. Religious ceremonies played a vital role in legitimizing a king's rule and ensuring the favor of the gods. Imagine processions through city streets, the air thick with the scent of incense and the sound of drums, as the populace gathered to witness rituals designed to bind the divine and earthly realms. As you settle deeper into the story, allow the sights, sounds, and sensations of ancient Mesopotamia to envelop you. The gentle flow of river waters, the hum of busy markets, and the solemn chants of priests calling upon the gods. Let the forgotten kings and their legacies carry you gently into peaceful sleep beneath the endless sky that has watched over civilization's rise and fall. As the afternoon sun casts a warm glow over the ancient city-states of Mesopotamia, life continues in its timeless rhythm, farmers working their fields, merchants trading goods, and priests performing sacred rites to honor the gods who governed every aspect of existence. Imagine the intricate layout of a Mesopotamian city, narrow streets winding between mud brick homes, bustling bazaars filled with the scent of spices and the chatter of traders, and towering ziggurats rising above as monuments to divine authority. The forgotten kings who ruled these city-states were guardians of both the physical and spiritual realms. Visualize a king standing atop the steps of a ziggurat, surrounded by loyal subjects and priests, his voice carrying solemn decrees that echoed through the city's plazas and into the farthest corners of his domain. Despite their divine status, these rulers faced constant challenges: threats from rival cities, unpredictable floods from the great rivers, and the delicate task of maintaining favor with the pantheon of gods. Imagine the king consulting with oracles and priests, seeking guidance and assurance before embarking on military campaigns or enacting new laws. Governance in Mesopotamia was a complex dance of power and diplomacy, where laws were etched onto clay tablets for all to see, a remarkable innovation that shaped the future of civilization. Picture scribes meticulously inscribing legal codes, recording transactions, and chronicling the deeds of kings and commoners alike, preserving the history of a people long gone but never forgotten. Trade was the lifeblood of these ancient cities, connecting Mesopotamia to distant lands through caravans and riverboats. Visualize goods flowing through markets: lapis lazuli from Afghanistan, cedar from Lebanon, and finely woven textiles from across the region, all testaments to the empire's reach and influence. Art and culture flourished under royal patronage, with elaborate frescoes, intricate jewelry, and majestic statues celebrating gods, kings, and the natural world. Imagine artisans working in sunlight-dappled workshops, their creations destined to adorn temples and palaces, embodying the rich spiritual and aesthetic life of Mesopotamia. As the day fades into evening, the city quiets, and the soft glow of oil lamps illuminates the faces of those gathered in homes and temples. Let yourself be wrapped in the timeless aura of these forgotten kings, their dreams, struggles, and legacies gently guiding you into restful, peaceful sleep beneath the stars that have witnessed their rise and fall. As twilight descends over the fertile plains and ancient cities of Mesopotamia, a tranquil calm settles across the land, a moment to reflect on the lives and legacies of the forgotten kings who once ruled these storied realms. Imagine the fading light casting long shadows over the towering ziggurats, their step terraces glowing softly in the evening hues, silent sentinels watching over the city's winding streets and bustling marketplaces. These kings were much more than political rulers. They were considered divine intermediaries, chosen by the gods to ensure prosperity, justice, and harmony. Visualize a monarch seated upon an ornately carved throne, his robe embroidered with symbols of power and protection, surrounded by advisors, priests, and warriors who pledged their loyalty and service. Yet their reigns were often marked by the delicate balancing act of managing internal strife, external threats, and the expectations of both gods and people. Imagine heated debates within palace walls, where strategies were crafted to defend borders, negotiate alliances, and maintain the favor of powerful deities through elaborate ceremonies and offerings. The king's influence extended beyond warfare and diplomacy. They were patrons of culture, commissioning magnificent temples, sponsoring skilled artisans, and supporting the scribes who preserved the empire's history in painstaking detail. Picture artisans shaping clay into intricate tablets inscribed with cuneiform, painters embellishing temple walls with vivid frescoes, and musicians playing melodies that echoed through grand halls during sacred festivals. Trade flourished under these rulers, connecting Mesopotamia to distant lands and bringing exotic goods, ideas, and technologies. Visualize caravans laden with precious lapis lazuli, fragrant spices, and finely woven textiles making their way through harsh deserts and fertile river valleys, the exchange of goods mirroring the exchange of culture and knowledge. Religious devotion permeated every aspect of life, and the king's legitimacy was deeply intertwined with their relationship to the gods. Imagine grand processions winding through city streets, the scent of burning incense filling the air, priests chanting sacred hymns, and the people offering prayers and gifts to secure divine blessing for their city and ruler. Yet time has obscured the names and stories of many of these rulers, their achievements and struggles known only through fragmented inscriptions and archaeological discoveries. As you listen, allow yourself to be transported into this ancient world, the ebb and flow of rivers, the murmur of temple prayers, the footsteps of kings walking paths long since lost to history. Let the quiet legacy of these forgotten kings gently carry you into restful sleep, beneath the endless stars that have witnessed the rise and fall of civilizations. As the night deepens over the sprawling plains of Mesopotamia, the ancient cities settle into a tranquil silence, broken only by the distant murmur of the Tigris and Euphrates rivers flowing steadily beneath the stars. Imagine the soft glow of oil lamps flickering within mud brick homes, casting warm, dancing shadows on the walls, while families gather quietly around hearths to share the day's stories and dreams. The forgotten kings, though long lost to the pages of history, left indelible marks on the land and its people, rulers who navigated the complexities of power, faith, and survival in a world as harsh as it was wondrous. Visualize a king in his twilight years, seated thoughtfully within the cool stone chambers of his palace, reflecting on decades of rule marked by battles won and lost, alliances forged and broken, and the constant pursuit of harmony between man and the divine. The political landscape was a tapestry of shifting alliances, city-states rising and falling in prominence, each vying for control over fertile lands and vital trade routes. Imagine emissaries traveling great distances, crossing deserts and mountains to deliver messages sealed with the emblem of their ruler, their journeys fraught with peril, yet essential for maintaining fragile peace and cooperation. Mesopotamian kings were also architects of culture and innovation, sponsoring advances in mathematics, astronomy, and literature that would echo through millennia. Picture scholars hunched over clay tablets, their cuneiform inscriptions charting the movements of celestial bodies, or chronicling epic tales of gods and heroes, preserving knowledge that would later inspire civilizations far beyond the Fertile Crescent. The spiritual life of the empire intertwined closely with governance, as kings sought to embody divine favor and ensure prosperity through ritual and devotion. Visualize grand temples towering over cities, their steps worn smooth by the feet of countless pilgrims, priests chanting solemn hymns as offerings of incense and sacrifice rise to the heavens. Despite the grandeur and power, these rulers faced profound challenges: the unpredictability of the rivers, the ever-present threat of invasion, and the pressures of maintaining order among diverse and often fractious populations. Imagine councils of advisors and generals gathering in shadowed halls, weighing the fate of their cities as distant armies mobilize or internal rebellions simmer just beneath the surface. Through it all, the resilience of the people and their kings shaped a civilization that laid the groundwork for much of human history. Allow yourself to be enveloped in this ancient world, the quiet flow of rivers, the murmured prayers beneath starlit skies, and the enduring legacies of kings who, though forgotten by time, remain eternal in the stones and stories they left behind. As you drift toward sleep, let the gentle rhythm of Mesopotamia's past lull you into peaceful rest, cradled by the endless sky and the whispers of forgotten kings. As the moon rises high over the ancient lands of Mesopotamia, its silvery light bathes the sprawling cities in a tranquil glow. Picture the vast expanse of the Fertile Crescent, with the mighty Tigris and Euphrates rivers carving their way through the earth, nourishing the soil and nurturing the earliest seeds of civilization. The forgotten kings who once ruled here presided over a world both majestic and fragile, a realm where the forces of nature, the will of the gods, and human ambition intertwined in a delicate balance. Visualize a king seated upon an ornate throne, surrounded by advisors and priests, his gaze steady and thoughtful as he contemplates the challenges of leadership, balancing the needs of his people with the demands of his gods. These rulers were guardians not only of land and people, but of a cultural heritage that included the creation of writing, the codification of laws, and the flourishing of arts and sciences. Imagine the glow of oil lamps illuminating grand halls where scribes painstakingly inscribed laws on clay tablets, their styluses moving with precision to capture decrees that would govern generations. The political landscape was complex, city-states often competing for dominance, alliances shifting like the desert sands, and the ever-present threat of invasion from distant enemies. Picture embassies traveling great distances, caravans laden with gifts and messages, weaving a network of diplomacy and intrigue that held the region in a delicate equilibrium. Religious life permeated every aspect of existence, with kings performing sacred rituals to appease gods and ensure the prosperity of their realms. Visualize towering ziggurats, their terraces ascending toward the heavens, where priests conducted elaborate ceremonies amid the scent of incense and the sound of chanting, their voices rising in supplication. The art and architecture sponsored by these kings remain among the most enduring legacies of Mesopotamia. Intricate jewelry, carved stone reliefs, and grand palaces that once housed courts and ceremonies. Imagine artisans working with gold and lapis lazuli, their craftsmanship reflecting both earthly beauty and divine inspiration, creating treasures that would be revered for centuries. Yet amid this grandeur, the kings faced continual trials, unpredictable floods threatening crops, rebellions stirring unrest, and the constant pressure to maintain authority over diverse and often fractious populations. Picture the tension in council chambers, the quiet strategies forged to protect the realm, and the solemn oaths sworn to uphold justice and peace. Through their struggles and triumphs, these forgotten kings shaped the foundations of governance, law, and culture that continue to influence the world today. Allow yourself to be enveloped in this ancient story, the gentle flow of rivers, the flickering light of temple fires, and the enduring spirit of rulers whose names may be lost but whose impact remains eternal. As you close your eyes, let the whispers of Mesopotamia's forgotten kings carry you softly into deep, restful sleep beneath the vast and timeless sky. As dawn breaks gently over the vast plains of Mesopotamia, the soft light illuminates the ancient cities that once thrived between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. Imagine the golden rays filtering through palm fronds and casting a warm glow upon the mud brick walls of Ur, Uruk, and Lagash, cities steeped in history, culture, and the legacies of forgotten kings. These kings, though their names are often lost to time, were pivotal figures in shaping the trajectory of human civilization. Visualize a ruler standing atop the steps of a majestic ziggurat, his eyes surveying the sprawling city below, knowing that his decisions will impact generations to come. Their reigns were characterized by a delicate interplay of power, faith, and diplomacy, Imagine the complex rituals performed to appease the gods, offerings of food, incense, and precious goods meant to secure divine favor and safeguard the city from harm. The political landscape was fraught with challenges. Neighboring city-states vied for control over fertile lands and vital trade routes. Alliances shifted like desert sands, and wars could erupt suddenly, reshaping the map overnight. Picture armies gathering beyond city walls, banners fluttering in the breeze, and generals plotting strategies to defend their people and expand their influence. Yet, amidst these turbulent times, the kings fostered remarkable advancements in law, administration, and culture. Visualize scribes in bustling palaces drafting legal codes, their precise cuneiform inscriptions establishing standards for justice, property rights, and social order that would influence civilizations for millennia. Artisans flourished under royal patronage, producing exquisite jewelry, pottery, and sculptures that reflected both the spiritual beliefs and daily lives of their people. Imagine workshops alive with the rhythmic tapping of tools and the vibrant colors of painted frescoes depicting myths, gods, and heroic deeds. Religious ceremonies were integral to maintaining social cohesion and legitimizing royal authority. Picture grand processions winding through city streets, priests chanting ancient hymns, and the air thick with the scent of burning frankincense and myrrh. Despite the grandeur and power, these kings were mortal, facing the ever-present threats of disease, famine, rebellion, and invasion. Imagine the solemn moments of reflection within palace chambers, where kings sought counsel from priests and advisors, balancing hope with the harsh realities of rule. As you immerse yourself in this ancient world, let the flowing rivers, bustling markets, sacred temples, and echoes of forgotten kings envelop your senses. Allow the enduring spirit of Mesopotamia, the cradle of civilization, to gently guide you into a deep, peaceful sleep beneath the endless sky that has watched over these lands for millennia. As twilight descends over the ancient cities nestled between the winding rivers of Mesopotamia, a peaceful hush envelops the land. Imagine the gentle murmur of the Tigris and Euphrates flowing steadily beneath the fading light, their waters reflecting the soft glow of lanterns flickering within the city walls. The forgotten kings of these fertile lands ruled in an era where power was intertwined with divine favor, and the line between mortal and God was often blurred. Visualize a king standing solemnly in his grand palace, surrounded by advisors and priests, preparing for the evening's rituals to honor the gods who protected and guided his people. Their reigns, though often overshadowed by time, were marked by achievements in governance, culture, and innovation. Picture scribes working tirelessly by candlelight, inscribing laws, histories, and epic tales onto clay tablets, preserving knowledge that would one day influence the foundations of modern civilization. The cities bustled with life. Farmers tended their fields, merchants traded exotic goods, and artisans crafted masterpieces that adorned temples and palaces. Imagine the colorful fabrics, fragrant spices, and gleaming metals that filled the markets, reflecting a society rich in diversity and ambition. Religious ceremonies held deep significance. Processions wound through the streets carrying statues of gods and offerings, while priests chanted prayers to secure blessings and prosperity. Visualize the intricate rituals performed atop ziggurats, their terraced steps echoing with the footsteps of worshippers seeking connection with the divine. Yet these kings also faced immense challenges: conflicts with neighboring city-states, threats from nomadic tribes, and the ever-present unpredictability of the natural world. Imagine the tension in council chambers as strategies were devised to protect the realm, the weight of responsibility heavy on the shoulders of those chosen to lead. Despite these trials, the spirit of Mesopotamia endured, woven into the very fabric of its people and their enduring legacy. Allow yourself to be carried on the gentle currents of history, the flowing rivers, the quiet prayers, the whispered stories of forgotten kings. As you drift toward sleep, let the timeless echoes of Mesopotamia's ancient rulers cradle you softly beneath the stars, wrapped in the calm embrace of a civilization that laid the foundations for all who followed. As the first light of dawn gently spreads over the ancient plains of Mesopotamia, the cities that once thrived between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers awaken to a new day. Imagine the soft golden glow illuminating the mud brick walls of Ur, Uruk, and Lagash, their storied streets slowly filling with the quiet footsteps of those who continue the legacy of these ancient lands. The forgotten kings, whose names have faded from memory, remain eternal in the stones, stories, and cultural foundations they helped build. Visualize the regal figures, now silent, their lives etched in the inscriptions on tablets and the remains of magnificent temples and palaces, standing as silent witnesses to an era of human ingenuity and spiritual devotion. Their reigns, though distant in time, reflect the timeless human journey of power and vulnerability, ambition and humility, faith and uncertainty. Imagine the kings preparing for sacred ceremonies to honor the gods, their voices joining in ancient hymns that rise to the heavens, connecting earth and sky in a tapestry of devotion. The political and social complexities they navigated were vast, balancing the demands of governance, the expectations of divine favor, and the needs of a diverse and evolving population. Picture council meetings filled with earnest debate, scribes recording every decision, and citizens living lives shaped by the ebb and flow of history's tides. Culturally, these kings fostered advancements in art, literature, law, and science, contributions that would ripple through time and influence civilizations far beyond their own. Visualize artisans crafting exquisite jewelry, poets composing epic tales, and scholars delving into the mysteries of the stars, all under the patronage of these forgotten rulers. Despite the inevitable decline of their city-states, the spirit of Mesopotamia endures, a testament to resilience, creativity, and the enduring human spirit. Let yourself be enveloped in this ancient world, the flowing rivers, the sacred temples, the bustling markets, and the echoes of kings whose stories, though forgotten, continue to shape the story of humanity. As you rest now, cradled by the timeless beauty of these ancient lands, let the legacy of the forgotten kings gently guide you into deep, peaceful sleep beneath the vast, eternal sky. May your dreams be filled with the quiet majesty of Mesopotamia and the eternal whisper of history. And so, we have come to the end of our journey through the forgotten kings of ancient Mesopotamia. Thank you for joining me in this calm exploration of an ancient world that laid the foundations of civilization. Now, let us continue our Boring History for Sleep series with a story of knowledge lost and rediscovered, the lost libraries of Alexandria and beyond. Find a comfortable place, relax, and let the quiet whispers of history carry you softly into the next chapter of our peaceful journey. Imagine a city bathed in the warm Mediterranean sun, its streets bustling with scholars, poets, and philosophers from all corners of the ancient world. This city is Alexandria, a shining jewel founded by Alexander the Great, destined to become one of the greatest centers of knowledge, learning, and culture in human history. Picture the Grand Library of Alexandria, an architectural marvel of immense scale and beauty, said to house hundreds of thousands of scrolls and manuscripts from across the ancient world. Visualize the towering shelves lined with papyrus scrolls, the faint scent of aged parchment and ink lingering in the air, and the quiet hum of scholars debating and discovering new ideas. The library was not just a building, it was a symbol of human curiosity, a beacon of knowledge that sought to gather every text, every thought, and every story from civilizations far and wide. Imagine scribes copying texts with painstaking care, translators working diligently to make foreign works accessible, and philosophers engaging in spirited discussions that echoed through marble halls. Beyond the library itself, Alexandria was home to the Mauseon, a temple dedicated to the Muses, where poets, scientists, and thinkers gathered to push the boundaries of human understanding. Picture scientists conducting early experiments, mathematicians contemplating the nature of infinity, and historians chronicling the stories of empires both great and small. The ambition to collect knowledge was unprecedented. Scholars scoured the ancient world, acquiring texts from Egypt, Greece, Persia, India, and beyond, scrolls that captured philosophy, medicine, astronomy, literature, and law. Visualize the caravans and ships arriving at Alexandria's bustling ports, their precious cargo destined to enrich the library's vast collection and fuel centuries of scholarship. Yet, despite its grandeur and promise, the fate of the Library of Alexandria is shrouded in mystery and tragedy. Imagine the devastating fires, the political turmoil, and the gradual decline that led to the loss of countless priceless works, knowledge erased from history's pages, leaving gaps that scholars to this day strive to fill. But the story of lost knowledge extends beyond Alexandria. Through the ages, countless libraries, archives, and centers of learning have been destroyed or forgotten, their treasures scattered or lost forever. Picture ancient temples in Babylon, monastic libraries in Europe, and scholars in distant lands working to preserve what remained, often under threat from war, neglect, or natural disaster. As you settle into this story, let the echoes of the lost libraries envelop you, the whispers of scrolls long vanished, the flicker of candlelight in quiet study halls, and the eternal human quest to understand the world. Allow yourself to be gently carried through time and space, exploring the rise and fall of knowledge, and the enduring hope that learning will one day be rediscovered and cherished anew. As the sun rises over the ancient city of Alexandria, the bustling streets come alive with scholars, merchants, and travelers from across the known world. Imagine the harbor filled with ships, their sails billowing in the Mediterranean breeze, carrying precious cargo, texts and scrolls destined for the great library that has become a beacon of knowledge and hope. The Library of Alexandria was more than just a repository of books. It was a vibrant center for learning, innovation, and cultural exchange. Visualize the grand halls filled with students and teachers, philosophers debating profound questions about the cosmos, the nature of existence, and the mysteries of mathematics and science. Among the many brilliant minds who gathered here was Eratosthenes, the mathematician and geographer who first calculated the circumference of the Earth with remarkable accuracy. Imagine him poring over maps and observational data, using the sun's shadows to unlock secrets of our planet, his work a testament to the library's spirit of inquiry. The library was also home to pioneers of medicine, such as Herophilos, who conducted early studies of human anatomy, challenging existing beliefs and expanding the understanding of the body. Picture these early physicians dissecting cadavers in secret chambers, their findings recorded carefully on scrolls that pushed the boundaries of ancient science. But the library's reach extended beyond the sciences. It was a sanctuary for poets, historians, and writers who preserved the literary heritage of many cultures. Visualize scribes copying Homeric epics, chronicling the histories of kings and empires, and translating works from far-off lands into Greek, the lingua franca of the time. Despite its grandeur, the library's history is marked by turmoil. Imagine political upheavals and wars that threatened its very existence, the fire that may have consumed its precious scrolls, the loss of invaluable works that might have contained secrets lost forever. Yet even after the destruction of Alexandria's famed library, the quest to preserve knowledge continued elsewhere. Picture the scholars of the Islamic Golden Age, who translated and safeguarded Greek and Roman texts in cities like Baghdad's House of Wisdom, keeping the flame of learning alive through centuries of change. Similarly, in medieval Europe, monastic libraries preserved religious texts and classical works, their quiet halls becoming sanctuaries of scholarship amid times of turmoil. Imagine monks laboriously copying manuscripts by candlelight, their dedication ensuring that knowledge would survive the Dark Ages. This story of loss and preservation is woven through human history, libraries lost to fire, war, and neglect, yet knowledge always finding a way to endure. Allow yourself to drift gently through this vast tapestry, the scrolls and tomes, the scholars and scribes, the rise and fall of great centers of learning. Let the story of the lost libraries of Alexandria and beyond guide you softly into restful sleep, beneath the timeless stars that have witnessed the endless pursuit of wisdom. As the afternoon sun filters through the columns of ancient Alexandria, the spirit of inquiry fills the air, weaving a tapestry of knowledge, discovery, and human ambition. Imagine walking through the vast halls of the great library, where rows upon rows of papyrus scrolls line towering shelves that seem to reach the heavens. The scholars who gathered here were pioneers, explorers of the mind who sought to understand the cosmos, the human body, and the very nature of existence itself. Visualize Aristarchus of Samos, the astronomer who first proposed a heliocentric model of the solar system, his revolutionary ideas challenging the long-held beliefs of his time, sparking debate and wonder in these halls. Nearby, Euclid, the father of geometry, compiles his seminal work, Elements, laying the foundations for mathematics that would shape centuries of scientific thought. Imagine students seated on marble benches, attentively absorbing lessons that will influence architects, engineers, and thinkers far beyond the ancient world. The library also embraced the arts and humanities, with poets, historians, and philosophers debating the meaning of life, the ethics of rulers, and the nature of beauty. Picture the echoes of voices engaging in lively discourse, their words preserved in texts that later generations would treasure as cornerstones of Western culture. Yet despite its grandeur and promise, the library faced existential threats. Political turmoil, changing rulers, and the chaos of war cast shadows over Alexandria's streets, threatening the preservation of this unparalleled trove of knowledge. There are many stories and legends about the library's destruction. A great fire, accidental or deliberate, consuming countless scrolls and manuscripts in a tragic loss to humanity. Imagine flames licking at parchment, the frantic efforts of scholars trying to save precious texts, and the heavy silence that follows such devastation. Beyond Alexandria, knowledge lived on. Centers of learning rose and fell across the ancient world, from the libraries of Pergamon to those of Nalanda in India. Visualize the scribes of Pergamon, who developed the use of parchment as a writing material when papyrus supplies dwindled, innovating to preserve precious knowledge. In India, the Nalanda University flourished as a beacon of Buddhist learning, with vast libraries that welcomed scholars from China, Tibet, and beyond. Imagine the peaceful monastic halls filled with texts on philosophy, medicine, and metaphysics, where knowledge was revered as a sacred treasure. The ebb and flow of history meant that libraries were often vulnerable, subject to the whims of conquest, neglect, and the relentless passage of time. Yet the human spirit's desire to learn and preserve never waned. Across centuries and continents, the flame of knowledge was passed from one generation to the next. As you listen, allow yourself to be transported across this rich and varied landscape of learning, through grand halls and quiet monasteries, across continents and ages. Let the story of the lost libraries of Alexandria and beyond carry you gently into a deep, peaceful sleep beneath the vast and eternal sky. As twilight descends gently over the ancient city of Alexandria, the fading light casts long shadows across the marble pillars and stone steps of the famed library. Imagine the quiet halls filled with the soft rustle of papyrus scrolls, the whispered conversations of scholars engrossed in their studies, and the lingering scent of ink and aged parchment. The library was more than a building. It was a living institution, a hub where the boundaries of knowledge were pushed, and ideas from across the ancient world converged. Visualize the intellectual vibrancy as scholars from Egypt, Greece, Persia, and India gathered to share discoveries, debate philosophies, and translate texts that bridged cultures and epochs. One such scholar was Hypatia, a philosopher and mathematician whose wisdom illuminated the halls of Alexandria. Picture her teaching eager students under the shade of olive trees, her voice calm and compelling as she explained the mysteries of the heavens and the elegance of mathematics. The library's vast collection included not only philosophical treatises and scientific works, but also poetry, history, law, and religious texts, each scroll a thread in the rich tapestry of human thought. Imagine scribes carefully copying texts to preserve and disseminate knowledge, their meticulous hands ensuring the survival of ideas through time. Despite its grandeur, the Library of Alexandria faced many challenges. Political unrest, religious conflicts, and economic pressures created an atmosphere of uncertainty, threatening the sanctuary of knowledge. Picture the tension as rulers changed, with some indifferent or hostile to the library's mission, leading to neglect or worse. Legends speak of several devastating events: fires ignited during Julius Caesar's siege, accidental blazes, and later destructions during times of civil strife. Imagine the panic as flames consumed priceless scrolls, the efforts of scholars to rescue what they could, and the profound loss felt by the world's greatest minds. Yet knowledge survived, passed down through other centers of learning: monastic libraries in the Byzantine Empire, the House of Wisdom in Baghdad, and the universities of medieval Europe. Visualize the monks of Mount Athos and Cluny carefully copying manuscripts by candlelight, the scholars of Baghdad translating Greek and Persian texts into Arabic, and the scholars of Oxford and Paris embracing this legacy centuries later. The story of Alexandria's lost libraries is a poignant reminder of the fragility and resilience of human knowledge. It speaks to the enduring quest for understanding and the profound importance of preserving our collective heritage. As night deepens and the city quiets, let yourself be wrapped in the gentle echoes of this ancient sanctuary of learning. Allow the story of the lost libraries of Alexandria and beyond to soothe your mind and spirit, carrying you gently into peaceful sleep beneath the timeless stars. As dawn breaks softly over the ancient Mediterranean world, the legacy of the great libraries lives on, not just in the surviving texts, but in the spirit of human curiosity, and the relentless pursuit of knowledge. Imagine the ancient scholars whose lives were devoted to collecting, preserving, and interpreting the wisdom of countless generations before them. The Library of Alexandria, though lost to the ravages of time and conflict, set a standard for what human intellect could achieve. Visualize its halls as a sanctuary where culture, science, philosophy, and art flourished together, a place where boundaries dissolved and ideas mingled freely across civilizations. Beyond Alexandria, other centers of learning carried this torch. Libraries in Pergamon with their innovative use of parchment, Nalanda's vast repository of Buddhist texts in India, and the renowned House of Wisdom in Baghdad during the Islamic Golden Age. Picture these libraries as vibrant hubs, their scholars translating works from Greek, Sanskrit, Persian, and Arabic, blending knowledge in ways that propelled humanity forward. Throughout history, countless libraries were lost, destroyed by wars, natural disasters, or neglect. Imagine the devastation of the burning of the Library of Constantinople, the destruction of Mayan codices, and the loss of countless archives in ancient civilizations across the world. Yet, despite such losses, the flame of knowledge flickered and was rekindled time and again. Visualize medieval monks in European monasteries painstakingly copying manuscripts, Renaissance scholars rediscovering classical works, and modern academics piecing together the fragments of our collective past. The story of lost libraries is a testament to both human fragility and resilience. It reminds us how precious knowledge is, and how its preservation depends on the dedication and passion of those who value it most. As you listen, allow yourself to be enveloped in this timeless tale, the whispers of ancient scrolls, the quiet footsteps in candlelit halls, and the enduring hope that what is lost may one day be found. Let the story of the lost libraries of Alexandria and beyond guide you gently into deep, peaceful sleep, beneath the vast, eternal sky that has witnessed the rise and fall of civilizations and the ceaseless quest for wisdom. As the soft glow of evening settles over the ancient lands surrounding the Mediterranean, the echoes of forgotten libraries resonate through time, whispers of knowledge, culture, and human endeavor that refuse to fade completely into obscurity. Imagine, if you will, the countless scribes and scholars who dedicated their lives to the pursuit of learning, often working in dimly lit rooms, their hands stained with ink as they painstakingly copied manuscripts to preserve precious knowledge for future generations. The Library of Alexandria, with its vast collection, symbolized humanity's grandest aspiration, to gather all the wisdom of the known world under one roof. Visualize the towering shelves, labyrinthine corridors, and quiet reading chambers filled with scrolls on philosophy, science, literature, and art, each one a thread in the intricate fabric of human history. Among the many scholars who walked these halls were polymaths and visionaries who pushed the boundaries of what was known, studying astronomy, mathematics, medicine, and engineering with remarkable insight. Picture figures like Ptolemy charting the stars, Herophilos exploring human anatomy, and Callimachus organizing the library's vast catalog to make knowledge accessible to all. Yet the library's destruction was not a singular event, but a series of tragic losses spanning centuries. Fires, wars, political upheavals, and neglect all contributed to its gradual decline. Imagine the desperation of scholars attempting to rescue manuscripts from burning buildings, the chaos of sieges disrupting centuries of scholarship, and the slow dispersal of scrolls to distant lands. Beyond Alexandria, centers of learning in Byzantium, Persia, and the Islamic world became vital repositories for classical knowledge. Visualize the House of Wisdom in Baghdad, where texts from Greek, Persian, and Indian traditions were translated and expanded upon, fueling a golden age of science and philosophy. In Europe, monasteries and later universities took up the mantle, preserving manuscripts through dark ages and periods of turmoil. Picture monks in scriptoriums illuminating manuscripts with intricate designs, their quiet devotion ensuring that seeds of knowledge survived to inspire the Renaissance and beyond. The story of lost libraries is a reminder of the fragility and resilience of human culture, how knowledge can be destroyed yet never fully extinguished. Let yourself be wrapped in this tale, the fluttering of scrolls, the murmur of scholarly voices, the silent strength of wisdom passed down through generations. As night deepens and stars emerge, let the history of the lost libraries of Alexandria and beyond lull you gently into restful sleep, cradled by the eternal sky and the enduring quest for understanding. As the world turns slowly beneath a velvet night sky, the tale of the lost libraries continues. A story woven through time and across civilizations, speaking to humanity's enduring thirst for knowledge and understanding. Imagine the soft glow of candlelight flickering in a distant monastic scriptorium, where devoted monks labor patiently to copy ancient manuscripts by hand, preserving fragments of wisdom against the relentless march of time and conflict. The fall of Alexandria's famed library was but one chapter in a much larger narrative, a mosaic of lost treasures and reclaimed knowledge spanning continents and centuries. Visualize the bustling centers of learning that rose in the aftermath. Libraries in Constantinople, Cordoba, and Timbuktu, each a sanctuary for texts, ideas, and the scholarly exchange that kept the flame of civilization alive. In the Islamic Golden Age, scholars gathered in the House of Wisdom in Baghdad, translating and expanding upon works from Greek, Persian, Indian, and other traditions. Picture the intellectual fervor as mathematicians devised algebra, astronomers refined celestial charts, and physicians advanced medical knowledge, all fueled by the preservation and enhancement of ancient texts. Meanwhile, in Europe, the monastic libraries of the Middle Ages stood as beacons of continuity amid times of upheaval. Imagine the serene cloisters of Benedictine monasteries, the quiet rustling of vellum as monks copied the Bible and classical works, their dedication a lifeline preserving the knowledge that would later ignite the Renaissance. Across the vast Sahara, the libraries of Timbuktu safeguarded thousands of manuscripts on science, law, theology, and history, testaments to a rich intellectual tradition in West Africa. Visualize scholars engaged in animated discussions beneath the shade of ancient trees, manuscripts spread out on tables, the air thick with the scent of leather and ink. Yet, despite these havens, countless works have been lost to fire, war, neglect, and decay. Imagine the ashes of burnt libraries, the crumbling scrolls buried beneath ruins, and the silent gaps in our understanding of human history, echoes of knowledge forever beyond our reach. But the human spirit's resilience shines brightest in the efforts to recover and rediscover what was thought lost. Picture modern scholars painstakingly piecing together fragments from archaeological sites, digitizing ancient manuscripts, and reviving languages that once seemed extinct. As you listen, let yourself be carried on the gentle currents of history, through grand halls and humble studies, across deserts and oceans, tracing the paths of knowledge that have shaped our world. Allow the story of the lost libraries of Alexandria and beyond to cradle you softly into deep, peaceful sleep beneath the endless stars, wrapped in the eternal quest for wisdom. As the soft light of dawn gently washes over the ancient cities and forgotten ruins where once mighty libraries stood, the echoes of their knowledge ripple quietly through history. Imagine the pages of long-lost manuscripts fluttering in a gentle breeze, the whispers of scholars and scribes who devoted their lives to the pursuit of wisdom and understanding. The story of Alexandria's library is emblematic of a broader human saga, a testament to the fragility and resilience of culture and knowledge across ages and civilizations. Visualize the bustling intellectual centers of the ancient world, Athens with its philosophical academies, Pergamon with its famed library rivaling Alexandria, and the monastic libraries that later preserved knowledge through centuries of change. In Pergamon, for example, the invention of parchment, prepared from animal skins, allowed for more durable and portable texts, a significant advancement that helped preserve literature and science for future generations. Picture the artisans meticulously preparing these sheets, their work foundational to the survival of countless works long after papyrus scrolls had deteriorated. The monastic communities of medieval Europe became bastions of preservation, their quiet dedication ensuring that the legacy of classical and religious knowledge survived the upheavals of the times. Imagine monks laboring by candlelight, illuminating manuscripts with intricate designs and painstakingly copying texts that would eventually find their way into the great universities of the Renaissance. Far to the east, the libraries of the Islamic Golden Age served as vibrant centers of scholarship, translation, and innovation. Visualize the scholars of Baghdad, Cairo, and Cordoba translating Greek, Persian, and Indian texts into Arabic, expanding on their wisdom and advancing fields such as mathematics, astronomy, and medicine. The story of lost libraries also includes heartbreaking losses: the destruction of the Maya codices, the burning of the Nalanda University Library in India, and countless other cultural devastations that have left gaps in our understanding. Imagine the flames consuming irreplaceable scrolls, the silence that follows such loss, and the enduring questions about what knowledge was lost forever. Yet, through the centuries, the human spirit has shown remarkable resilience and hope. Modern archaeologists and historians tirelessly recover fragments, decipher ancient scripts, and revive languages, breathing life back into the faded stories of our ancestors. As you listen to this tale, allow yourself to be immersed in the quiet majesty of knowledge, preserved and lost. Walk the halls of ancient libraries in your mind, hear the soft rustle of parchment, and feel the enduring quest for wisdom that spans time and place. Let the story of the lost libraries of Alexandria and beyond guide you gently into a peaceful, restorative sleep, wrapped in the timeless embrace of history's great mysteries. As twilight settles gently over the ancient Mediterranean world, the story of the lost libraries weaves on, a narrative as complex and layered as the scrolls once housed within the grand halls of Alexandria. Imagine the flickering light of oil lamps illuminating vast rooms where scholars dedicated their lives to preserving and expanding the boundaries of human knowledge. The destruction of the Library of Alexandria is often viewed as a singular event, but history reveals a more nuanced tale, one marked by multiple incidents, political shifts, and cultural changes that gradually eroded this bastion of learning. Visualize the complex political landscape of the era, rulers vying for power, conflicts erupting across the region, and the fragile institutions of knowledge caught in the crossfire. Yet, even as Alexandria's light dimmed, the quest for knowledge persisted and adapted. Picture the vibrant centers of learning that emerged across the Islamic world: Baghdad's House of Wisdom, Cairo's libraries, and the intellectual hubs of Cordoba and Granada, where scholars translated, preserved, and expanded upon classical texts. In medieval Europe, the monastic scriptoria became lifelines of knowledge. Imagine monks in cloisters copying manuscripts by the flickering glow of candlelight, preserving classical literature, theological treatises, and scientific works through centuries, often characterized by upheaval and uncertainty. The story of lost libraries also touches upon the devastation of cultural treasures: the burning of the Nalanda University Library in India, the destruction of Mayan codices, and countless other sites lost to war, neglect, and natural disasters. Visualize the sorrow and determination of those who sought to save and restore what they could, knowing that knowledge is both fragile and precious. Despite these losses, the resilience of human curiosity shines through the ages. Picture modern archaeologists and historians painstakingly piecing together fragments, deciphering ancient scripts, and using technology to revive languages and recover lost histories. As you listen, let the echoes of these lost libraries envelop you: the silent halls, the rustling of fragile pages, the voices of scholars past, and the unending human pursuit of wisdom. Allow the lost libraries of Alexandria and beyond to carry you softly into a deep and restful sleep, beneath the eternal stars that have witnessed the rise, fall, and rebirth of knowledge across civilizations. As the first light of dawn spreads gently across the ancient Mediterranean shores, the story of the lost libraries draws to a close, a tale woven through centuries, cultures, and the unyielding human desire for knowledge and connection. Imagine the calm waters of the harbor in Alexandria, reflecting the soft glow of sunrise, the city awakening slowly, its streets echoing with footsteps of those who continue the legacy of learning begun millennia ago. Though the grand halls of the Library of Alexandria have long since vanished, their spirit lives on, in the manuscripts preserved in distant lands, in the scholarship of countless civilizations, and in the unbroken chain of human curiosity. Visualize scholars of the Renaissance poring over rediscovered texts, explorers and historians piecing together fragments of the past, and modern researchers using technology to unlock secrets thought lost forever. The story of these libraries is not merely one of loss, but of resilience, adaptation, and rebirth. Picture libraries around the world today: digital archives, university collections, and community centers that stand as modern heirs to the ancient pursuit of wisdom and understanding. As you rest now, allow the whispers of ancient scrolls and the voices of forgotten scholars to soothe your mind and spirit. Let the legacy of the lost libraries of Alexandria and beyond gently carry you into deep, restorative sleep beneath the vast and eternal sky. A sky that has witnessed the rise and fall of empires, the birth of ideas, and the endless journey of human knowledge. May your dreams be filled with the light of discovery and the quiet majesty of history's enduring mysteries. ChatGPT Danai. And so we have come to the end of our journey through the lost libraries of Alexandria and beyond. Thank you for joining me in this peaceful exploration of knowledge lost and rediscovered. Now, let us continue our Boring History for Sleep series with a quiet glimpse into the past. Daily life in a medieval monastery. Find a comfortable spot. Relax and let the gentle rhythms of monastic life carry you softly into the next story. Imagine waking up just before dawn, the sky still a deep, velvety blue dotted with stars. The air is crisp and cool, filled with the soft sounds of nature stirring quietly around the monastery grounds, rustling leaves, distant bird calls, and the gentle flow of a nearby stream. This is the start of a day in a medieval monastery, a world set apart from the hustle and bustle of towns and cities, dedicated to prayer, work, and contemplation. Picture the sturdy stone walls of the monastery, rising against the morning sky, enclosing gardens, cloisters, chapels, and humble living quarters where monks live a life of discipline and devotion. As the first bell tolls softly through the quiet air, the monks rise from their simple wooden beds, their minds focused on the rhythm of the day ahead. Visualize them dressing in coarse woolen habits, the fabric rough yet comforting, symbolizing their vow of poverty and humility. The day begins with matins, a series of early morning prayers held in the dimly lit chapel. Imagine the flickering of candlelight casting gentle shadows on ancient stone walls as the monks' voices rise in solemn chant, the Latin hymns weaving a tapestry of sound that fills the sacred space. Following the prayers, the monks move to the refectory for a simple breakfast, perhaps a small piece of bread and a cup of thin ale or water. Picture the long wooden tables, the monks seated silently in contemplation or quietly reading from sacred texts, nourishing both body and spirit. Work is an essential part of monastic life, balanced carefully with prayer and study. Visualize the monks tending the monastery gardens, cultivating herbs and vegetables that will feed the community, their hands moving with practiced care among the rows of plants. Others might be found in the scriptorium, the heart of medieval scholarship, where monks copy manuscripts with painstaking precision. Imagine the soft scratching of quills on parchment, the ink drying slowly on illuminated letters adorned with intricate designs and gold leaf, preserving knowledge for future generations. The monastery is a self-sufficient community, with workshops for brewing, baking, and crafting. Picture the aroma of fresh bread wafting through stone corridors, the bubbling of ale in wooden barrels, and the rhythmic hammering of tools shaping metal or wood. Midday prayers, sext and nun, call the monks back to the chapel, their voices once again filling the sacred halls with hymns and psalms. Imagine the solemnity of these moments, a pause in the day's labor to reconnect with faith and community. Meals are taken in silence, accompanied only by readings from scripture or the writings of the church fathers. Visualize the monks listening attentively, their faces serene, the gentle cadence of the reader's voice providing spiritual nourishment alongside the modest food. As the sun begins to set, vespers and compline mark the evening prayers, bookending the day with moments of reflection and devotion. Picture the twilight filtering through stained glass windows, the fading light casting colorful patterns on the stone floors as the monks chant their evening hymns. The day closes with a period of quiet meditation before rest, the monastery settling into peaceful silence under a canopy of stars. Allow yourself to be wrapped in this serene world, a place where time slows and the simple, steady rhythm of monastic life carries you gently toward restful sleep. As dawn's first light gently filters through the small, leaded windows of the monastery's dormitory, the quiet stirrings of a new day begin to unfold. Imagine the cool, still air filled with a faint scent of damp stone and worn wood, a testament to centuries of devotion and discipline held within these ancient walls. The monks rise silently, careful not to disturb their brethren, as they begin their morning ablutions at the basin in the cloister. Visualize the cool water flowing over their hands and faces, a simple ritual cleansing both body and mind, preparing them for the sacred duties ahead. Clad once more in their plain woolen habits, the monks gather in the chapel for lauds, the early morning prayer that welcomes the dawn. Picture the soft glow of candles illuminating faces etched with serenity and purpose, their voices rising in unison to chant psalms that have echoed here for generations. Following prayers, the brothers disperse to their assigned tasks, each role vital to the smooth running of the monastery's self-sufficient community. Some make their way to the fields, tending to crops of barley, wheat, and vegetables, their hands skilled in the rhythms of the earth. Imagine them bending over rich soil, planting seeds or harvesting with quiet diligence, the sun climbing higher as their work continues. Others are called to the scriptorium, where the meticulous art of manuscript copying is practiced with reverence and care. Visualize the long wooden tables strewn with parchment and ink pots, where monks with steady hands inscribe Latin texts in elegant script, illuminated letters blossoming in vivid colors. The monastery also houses workshops where craft skills flourish. Carpentry, brewing, baking, and weaving all sustain the community. Picture the scent of fresh bread rising from the bakehouse, the rhythmic thud of hammers shaping iron in the forge, and the gentle clatter of looms, weaving wool into cloth. Throughout the day, bells toll at regular intervals, calling the monks back to the chapel for the canonical hours, sext, nun, and vespers. Imagine the cadence of the bells' peal resonating across the cloister, a gentle reminder to pause, reflect, and renew their focus on spiritual devotion. Meals in the refectory are simple and humble, usually bread, pottage, and perhaps cheese or fruit. Visualize the brothers seated at long benches in contemplative silence, the soft rustling of pages as one reads aloud from scripture or writings of the saints, nourishing body and soul alike. Education is highly valued within the monastery, with younger novices receiving instruction in Latin, theology, and music. Picture a novice kneeling attentively, learning to chant Gregorian hymns or copying text under the watchful eye of an elder monk, the soft sounds filling the quiet halls. As afternoon turns to evening, the monks gather once more for Complin, the final prayer of the day. Imagine the chapel bathed in twilight, the stained glass casting muted colors over the assembled brothers as they chant their last psalms before retiring to rest. Night descends, bringing a deep, restorative silence to the monastery. Let yourself be enveloped in this serene world where the steady rhythm of prayer, work, and study carries the community, and now you, into peaceful slumber beneath a star-filled sky. As the day unfolds within the quiet walls of the medieval monastery, a delicate balance of spirituality, labor, and learning shapes the rhythm of life for the brothers who have chosen this path. Imagine the sun streaming through the narrow windows, casting long shafts of light onto the worn stone floors, illuminating the cloisters where monks walk silently, each step measured and purposeful. The heart of the monastery is the chapel, where the cycle of prayers punctuates the day's hours with solemn reverence. Visualize the monks gathering in neat rows, their faces serene beneath their cowls, voices blending in Gregorian chant that fills the vaulted ceilings with a sense of sacred harmony. Yet life here is not solely contemplative. Work is regarded as a form of prayer, an offering to God through the hands and minds of the community. Picture brothers moving to their tasks, some to the gardens where herbs and vegetables grow under careful tending, their leaves glistening with morning dew. Imagine the scent of fresh earth mingling with the fragrance of lavender and rosemary, plants harvested for both cooking and medicinal use. In the fields beyond, other monks tend to crops vital for sustenance, wheat, barley, and vegetables that will feed the monastery through the seasons. Visualize them using simple tools, their motions practiced and efficient, the quiet sounds of scythes and hoes blending with the distant song of birds. Inside the scriptorium is a sanctuary of knowledge and craftsmanship. Picture rows of monks seated at wooden desks, quills poised over parchment, as they carefully copy sacred texts and classical works, preserving wisdom that might otherwise be lost to time. The air is thick with the scent of ink and vellum, punctuated only by the soft scratching of quills and the occasional turning of a page. The monastic library is a treasure trove, though modest by today's standards, containing invaluable manuscripts and codices that serve as windows into the past. Imagine the quiet reverence with which monks handle these ancient books, the delicate pages worn from centuries of study and devotion. Education and learning are cornerstones of monastic life, with novices receiving instruction in Latin grammar, theology, and liturgical music. Visualize a young novice absorbing lessons, his voice hesitant yet growing confident as he learns to chant the complex melodies that echo through the chapel. The monastery also serves as a refuge, a place of peace and sanctuary from the outside world, where silence is cherished and distractions are few. Imagine the cloisters as gardens of contemplation, where monks walk slowly, pausing to reflect amidst the blooming flowers and quiet fountains. As evening approaches, the community gathers once more for Vespers and Compline, prayers that mark the close of the day. Picture the fading light filtering through stained glass, casting kaleidoscopes of color onto stone walls as voices rise in song and supplication. The day ends as it began, in calm and prayerful silence, the monastery settling into a restful stillness beneath the watchful stars. Allow yourself to be cradled by this peaceful rhythm, the harmony of devotion, work, and learning, as you drift gently toward sleep, carried by the timeless serenity of monastic life. As the day continues to unfold within the peaceful stone walls of the medieval monastery, the rhythm of monastic life flows steadily between work, prayer, and study. Imagine the sun climbing higher, its golden light filtering through narrow windows, illuminating the cloistered gardens where monks walk quietly, their footsteps softened by moss-covered stones. The daily schedule is meticulously observed, each moment guided by the ringing of the monastery bells that call the brothers to their canonical hours. Visualize the clear, resonant tones echoing across the quiet landscape, inviting monks from their tasks to gather once again in the chapel for prayer and reflection. The midday meal, taken in the refectory, is a time of solemn silence, broken only by the soft voice of a reader who shares scripture or the writings of the church fathers. Picture the long wooden tables lined with monks, their faces serene, hands folded or resting on simple bowls filled with modest fare, bread, pottage, perhaps some cheese or vegetables from the garden. Work continues as an integral part of devotion. It is seen as a form of worship and service. Imagine monks tending the orchard, pruning apple and pear trees, their hands steady and sure, the scent of ripe fruit filling the air. In the fields beyond, some brothers oversee the harvest, gathering wheat and barley that will be stored to sustain the community through harsh winters. Visualize the golden waves of grain swaying gently in the breeze, the rhythmic sound of sickles cutting through stalks blending with birdsong. Back within the monastery walls, the scriptorium remains a hive of quiet activity. Picture monks hunched over their desks, illuminated manuscripts unfolding under their skilled hands as they trace letters in black ink and vibrant pigments. The slow, deliberate process is both painstaking and sacred, a testament to their dedication to preserving knowledge and faith. The library, though humble, houses precious volumes, some ancient and fragile, others more recent, offering the brothers a window into theology, philosophy, history, and science. Imagine a monk carefully turning the yellowed pages of a manuscript, his eyes reflecting the flickering candlelight as he absorbs the wisdom contained within. Education is a cornerstone of monastic life, with novices receiving careful instruction not only in religious doctrine, but also in practical skills such as calligraphy, music, and herbal medicine. Visualize a novice apprentice sitting attentively as an elder monk demonstrates the proper way to grind pigments or tend a medicinal garden, each lesson a step toward spiritual and intellectual growth. The monastery also serves as a center of hospitality, offering shelter and aid to weary travelers and pilgrims. Picture the guest house filled with soft murmurs, the warmth of firesides, and the clinking of simple utensils as food is shared in quiet fellowship. As afternoon fades into evening, the monks prepare for the concluding prayers, Vespers and Compline, marking the day's end with solemn reverence. Visualize the chapel bathed in the soft glow of candles, the stained glass casting kaleidoscopes of color on stone walls as voices unite in ancient hymns. Night descends, bringing a serene silence that blankets the monastery. Allow yourself to be enveloped by the gentle cadence of monastic life, the harmony of prayer, work, and study, as you drift peacefully toward restful sleep, cradled by centuries of devotion and quiet grace. As the sun dips lower in the skies, casting long shadows across the monastery grounds, the rhythm of the day begins to slow, drawing the brothers toward their evening rituals and reflection. Imagine the peaceful cloisters bathed in golden light, the air cool and fragrant with the scent of herbs and blooming flowers from the garden, a serene backdrop to the final moments of daily labor. The monks gather once more in the chapel for Vespers, the evening prayer that marks a transition from the workday to quiet contemplation. Visualize the flickering candles illuminating faces serene with devotion, the soft harmonies of Gregorian chant rising and falling gently beneath the vaulted ceilings, enveloping the space in sacred stillness. Following prayers, some monks retire to the library or scriptorium, their minds still eager for knowledge and study despite the passing day. Picture the quiet rustling of parchment, the faint scratch of quills, and the warm glow of oil lamps as brothers immerse themselves in theological texts, classical works, or the copying of manuscripts to preserve wisdom for future generations. Others might be found in the infirmary, where the monastery's tradition of healing continues through the use of medicinal herbs cultivated in the garden. Imagine the gentle care given to the sick and elderly, the soothing scent of lavender and chamomile filling the air as monks prepare remedies with patience and skill. The evening meal is simple yet nourishing, taken in silence as the brothers listen to readings from scripture or the writings of revered saints and scholars. Visualize the communal table, the flicker of candlelight casting soft shadows, and the quiet focus on spiritual nourishment alongside physical sustenance. Education remains central to monastic life, with younger novices receiving instruction not only in religious doctrine, but also in music, languages, and the arts of daily living. Picture a novice practicing chant, his voice steadying under the guidance of a senior brother, or learning the careful art of manuscript illumination, each brushstroke a meditation in patience and devotion. Hospitality continues to be a sacred duty, with travelers and pilgrims welcomed warmly, finding rest and refuge within the monastery's walls. Imagine weary guests settling beside a fire, the gentle murmur of conversation blending with the crackling of logs and the comfort of shared bread and ale. As night deepens, the monks gather for Compline, the final prayer of the day, seeking peace and protection through the darkness. Visualize the chapel's quiet sanctity, the soft glow of candles, and the voices raised in a final, tender hymn before retreating to rest. The monastery grows still, wrapped in a profound silence that speaks of centuries of devotion and a life dedicated to the divine. Allow yourself to be cradled by this tranquil world, the steady rhythm of prayer, work, and study, as you drift gently toward deep, restorative sleep beneath a canopy of stars that have witnessed countless days like this. As the quiet night deepens over the monastery, a profound stillness envelops the stone walls and cloistered gardens, a silence that speaks of centuries of devotion, discipline, and peaceful routine. Imagine the moon casting pale light over the ancient roof tiles, the soft rustle of leaves in the gentle night breeze, and the faint glow of candlelight flickering behind small windows where monks prepare for rest. The daily rhythm that governs monastic life is both strict and gentle, a delicate balance of prayer, labor, study, and rest that shapes the spirit and body alike. Visualize the brothers moving quietly through the corridors, their footsteps softened by worn stone, each aware of the sacredness of silence in this place, apart from the world. Throughout the night, the monastery remains watchful. Some monks rise periodically for nocturnal prayers, vigils, or matins, lifting their voices in quiet chants that echo softly through the still air, a spiritual thread connecting day and night. Imagine the chapel illuminated by a single candle, the monks' voices weaving through the darkness in a tapestry of devotion and reflection. The monks' cells are simple, humble spaces, small rooms with bare walls, a straw mattress, a wooden stool, and a small desk for prayer books and personal writings. Picture the quiet solitude of these chambers, the monks settling in for rest, their minds peaceful yet alert to the call of divine service. Sleep in the monastery is considered a gift, a necessary restoration of the body, but never an escape from the sacred duties to which the monks are committed. Visualize the brothers waking gently with the first call of the bell, ready once again to embrace the rhythms of a life devoted to faith and community. Monastic gardens, cloisters, and orchards rest under the starry sky, tended through the seasons by the steady hands of dedicated brothers. Imagine the dew glistening on herbs and flowers, the faint scent of rosemary and thyme, carried on a cool night breeze, promising new growth with the coming dawn. In this world of quiet contemplation and humble labor, the monastery offers a refuge, not only for the monks themselves, but for all who seek peace, learning, and spiritual solace. Picture pilgrims arriving at the monastery gates, welcomed with warmth and generosity, their journeys eased by the calm and order of this ancient sanctuary. As you rest within this serene world, let the steady cadence of monastic life, the prayers, the work, the study, and the silence, carry you gently into a deep and peaceful sleep. Allow yourself to be cradled by the enduring spirit of devotion and simplicity beneath a vast and eternal sky that has witnessed centuries of faith and quiet grace. As the quiet monastery embraces the deepening night, the rhythms of monastic life continue to unfold in their timeless cadence, an ancient dance of prayer, study, labor, and contemplation that has echoed through centuries. Imagine the cloistered gardens resting under a blanket of stars, the air cool and still, carrying the soft fragrance of herbs and blooming flowers nurtured by patient hands. Within the stone walls, the monks' lives are marked by a devotion that transcends time and place, a commitment to a spiritual journey balanced by practical duties and scholarly pursuits. Visualize brothers seated in the scriptorium, their quills scratching gently against vellum as they copy sacred texts, illuminating manuscripts with intricate designs that catch the flickering candlelight. Education and the preservation of knowledge are sacred tasks, with novices learning the ancient languages, theology, and the arts of manuscript production. Imagine a novice attentively tracing letters, his hands guided by the patient instruction of an elder brother, each stroke a meditation on devotion and discipline. The monastery's workshop hums softly with activity, woodworkers crafting furniture, brewers tending vats of ale, bakers shaping dough into simple loaves. Picture the sense of fresh bread and fermenting grains mingling in the cool air, a reminder that sustenance of body is as important as that of spirit. Choral prayers punctuate the day, their Gregorian melodies rising and falling in harmonious waves that fill the vaulted chapel. Visualize the brothers standing in reverent rows, their voices blending in sacred song that weaves a tapestry of faith and community. Outside the monastery walls, the world may be filled with turmoil and uncertainty, but within, a sanctuary of order and peace endures. Imagine the quiet cloisters as places of refuge, where pilgrims find rest, and the burdens of the outside world are set aside, even if just for a time. The monastic diet is humble and frugal, often vegetarian, with fasting observed during certain liturgical seasons. Picture the monks partaking in simple meals of bread, legumes, and seasonal vegetables, their nourishment a reflection of their vows of simplicity and humility. As night deepens, the brothers gather one final time for compline, the last prayer before rest. Visualize the soft candlelight flickering over worn stone, the serene faces of the monks lifted in prayer as they seek peace and protection through the hours of darkness. Sleep comes gently in this sacred space, a time of restoration and quiet reflection. Allow yourself to be wrapped in the calm, steady rhythm of monastic life, the enduring balance of prayer, work, study, and rest, as you drift softly into deep, peaceful slumber beneath the vast, eternal sky. May the timeless devotion and quiet grace of the monastery cradle your dreams tonight. As the night deepens and the monastery settles into stillness, the gentle pulse of monastic life continues unseen, an eternal rhythm of faith, discipline, and quiet devotion. Imagine the cloistered gardens bathed in moonlight, the silver glow casting soft shadows over ancient stones and blooming herbs carefully tended by patient hands throughout the seasons. Within the monastery walls, the monks embrace a life that balances solitude and community, contemplation and labor. Visualize a brother seated at his wooden desk, quill in hand, transcribing ancient texts with steady focus, his breath slow and even, the ink drying on delicate parchment. Education remains a central pillar of monastic life, with novices guided patiently by elder monks who pass down the sacred traditions of scholarship and prayer. Imagine lessons in Latin grammar and theology unfolding in simple chambers, the novice's voice growing steadier as he masters the chants and scriptures that form the core of their spiritual practice. Meanwhile, the monastery's workshops are alive with quiet industry, carpenters shaping wood for furniture and tools, brewers tending their vats, and bakers preparing simple breads that sustain the community. Picture the mingling scents of fresh timber, brewing grains, and warm bread, mingling with the earthy aroma of herbs drying in the sun. Chants and prayers punctuate the day's hours, their solemn melodies weaving a tapestry of sound that connects the monks to each other and to the divine. Visualize the brothers standing in unison during the canonical hours, their voices rising in sacred song beneath vaulted ceilings that have echoed these hymns for centuries. The monastery is a refuge, not only for the monks, but also for travelers and pilgrims seeking solace from the harsh realities of the outside world. Imagine weary pilgrims resting in guest chambers, their faces softened by the peace and quiet of the cloisters, the warmth of simple meals shared in communal grace. The monastic diet reflects the community's values: simple, frugal, and nourishing. Picture the monks breaking their fast with water and bread, sharing humble meals that connect them to the earth and to centuries of tradition. As night advances, the brothers gather once more for Compline, the final prayer before rest. Visualize the chapel awash in candlelight, the stained glass windows casting muted hues on stone walls, as voices join in gentle hymns, seeking peace and protection through the darkness. In this sacred silence, sleep arrives softly, a time to restore body and soul for another day of devotion and service. Allow yourself to be carried by this tranquil rhythm, the steady cadence of prayer, work, study, and rest that has guided generations. Rest now beneath a sky sprinkled with stars, cradled by the enduring spirit of the medieval monastery, a place where time slows and the quiet grace of faith whispers you into deep and peaceful sleep. As the deep night envelops the monastery in serene silence, the enduring rhythm of monastic life continues quietly beneath the stars. Imagine the cloistered courtyards bathed in soft moonlight, shadows stretching gently over ancient stone walkways, and garden beds carefully nurtured through countless seasons. Within these hallowed walls, the monks live a life marked by devotion, discipline, and community, their days guided by the steady cadence of prayer, labor, and study. Visualize the monks' cloaks moving silently through corridors, their footsteps muffled by worn stone, their minds focused on spiritual contemplation and humble service. Though sleep rests gently upon the monastery, a few brothers rise for the night office, lifting their voices in solemn chant to honor the divine in the stillness of the hours. Picture the chapel bathed in candlelight, the flickering flames casting dancing shadows on the cold stone walls as the monks' voices weave together in ancient hymns, a sacred thread linking heaven and earth. The monks' cells are simple sanctuaries, spare chambers furnished with a wooden stool, a straw mattress, and a small desk bearing a prayer book or manuscript. Imagine the quiet solitude of these rooms, the peaceful breaths of brothers resting, their souls prepared to awaken with the coming dawn. Within the community, the rhythm of work and prayer flows seamlessly, each task performed as an act of devotion. Picture brothers tending to the herb gardens in the early morning mist, carefully harvesting leaves for medicinal remedies, the air filled with the fragrant scents of thyme, sage, and rosemary. The scriptorium remains a sacred space, where knowledge is preserved and transmitted through painstaking manuscript copying and illumination. Visualize monks bent over desks, quills poised to trace elegant letters and vivid illustrations, each stroke a meditation in patience and faith. Education and instruction continue to be the foundation for new generations of monks. Imagine novices learning the intricate chants, the theological teachings, and the skills required to sustain the monastery's spiritual and practical needs. Hospitality is a cherished monastic virtue, with guests welcomed warmly into the monastery's guest house. Picture weary travelers finding rest and comfort within these ancient walls, their journeys eased by the quiet peace and generosity of the brothers. The monastic diet remains simple and reflective of vows of poverty and humility: bread, vegetables, and modest portions shared in silence. Visualize the communal refectory bathed in soft light, the monks listening attentively to sacred readings as they partake in their humble meals. As the night deepens, the monastery settles into profound stillness. Allow yourself to be carried by the gentle pulse of monastic life, the harmony of prayer, labor, study, and rest, as you drift softly into deep and peaceful sleep beneath a sky that has witnessed centuries of devotion and quiet grace. May the serene spirit of the medieval monastery cradle your dreams tonight. As the first light of dawn softly illuminates the monastery grounds, a new day begins. In this sacred place of devotion and quiet contemplation, imagine the gentle chorus of birdsong weaving through the ancient trees, their melodies greeting the dawn as monks prepare once more to embrace the steady rhythm of monastic life. The day begins with the early morning prayers, matins and lauds, a time to gather in the chapel and lift voices in solemn chant, connecting heart and mind to the divine. Visualize the brothers standing in reverent rows, faces illuminated by flickering candlelight, their voices harmonizing in ancient psalms that have echoed through these halls for centuries. Following prayers, the monks set about their daily duties, balancing labor, study, and reflection in a seamless flow that nurtures both body and soul. Picture the monastery gardens bathed in soft morning light, the brothers tending to rows of herbs, vegetables, and fruit trees with careful hands and peaceful hearts. In the scriptorium, the work of preserving knowledge continues unabated. Imagine the steady scratch of quills on parchment, the vibrant colors of illuminated manuscripts slowly coming to life beneath the focused gaze of dedicated scribes. The monastery's workshops hum quietly with activity, carpenters shaping wood, brewers tending vats of ale, and bakers preparing simple loaves of bread to sustain the community. Visualize the mingling aromas of fresh bread, brewing grains, and aromatic herbs filling the air, a sensory reminder of the interconnectedness of work and prayer. Throughout the day, the monks gather regularly for the canonical hours, sext, nun, vespers, and compline, each prayer marking a sacred pause in the rhythm of labor and study. Picture the chapel alive with song and solemnity, the brothers' voices rising and falling in a timeless cadence that binds the community together in faith. Hospitality remains a vital part of monastic life, with guests welcomed warmly and offered rest and sustenance within these ancient walls. Imagine weary pilgrims and travelers finding comfort in the peaceful cloisters, their burdens lightened by the generosity and calm of the brothers. As the sun sets and the monastery prepares for the night, the monks gather once again for compline, the final prayer before rest. Visualize the quiet glow of candlelight reflecting off stone walls, the gentle murmur of hymns carrying into the stillness of the night. Sleep comes softly in this sacred refuge, a time of restoration and renewal for body and spirit alike. Allow yourself to be cradled by the steady rhythm of monastic life, the harmonious blend of prayer, work, study, and rest, as you drift gently into deep and peaceful slumber beneath a vast and eternal sky. May the quiet devotion and timeless grace of the medieval monastery guide your dreams tonight, filling you with calm and gentle peace. And so we have reached the end of our peaceful journey through daily life in a medieval monastery. Thank you for joining me in this calm exploration of faith, work, and devotion. Now, let us continue our Boring History for Sleep series with another quiet tale of human endurance and craftsmanship. The silent builders of the Great Wall of China. Find a comfortable place, relax in, and let the steady rhythm of ancient labor carry you softly into this next chapter of restful history. Imagine standing on the rugged hills of northern China, where the early morning mist clings to the earth like a soft protective veil. Before you stretches a monumental structure, the Great Wall of China, a vast ribbon of stone and earth winding across mountains, valleys, and deserts, silent witness to centuries of human endeavor. Picture the countless laborers, soldiers, peasants, prisoners, who toiled quietly under the harsh sun and biting winds, their hands shaping the stones and earth that would become this enduring fortress. Visualize men and women moving in steady rhythm, hauling heavy stones, mixing mortar, and laying brick with determined care, each action a testament to resilience and collective will. The work was grueling and dangerous, often carried out in remote, unforgiving terrain, far from the comforts of home. Imagine the makeshift camps scattered along the wall's length, rough shelters, simple fires, and weary bodies resting under vast open skies after days of relentless labor. Despite the hardship, the builders shared a silent camaraderie, bound together by a common purpose, to protect their land and their people. Visualize the passing of tools, the quiet words of encouragement, the shared meals eaten in the glow of campfires, and the small moments of rest amid the endless tasks. The construction of the wall was not a single event, but a process spanning centuries, with sections built, rebuilt, and reinforced by successive dynasties. Imagine the layers of history embedded in its stones, the tales of ancient engineers, commanders, and countless nameless workers who shaped its form. Beyond its function as a military defense, the wall was a symbol of strength and unity, a physical manifestation of a civilization's determination to endure. Picture the watchtowers rising at intervals, silent sentinels overlooking vast expanses of land, their windows like eyes watching for approaching danger. The wall also shaped the lives of the communities nearby, influencing trade, travel, and cultural exchange across the region. Imagine merchants and travelers passing through guarded gates, stories and goods flowing along routes protected by the wall's presence. As you stand on this ancient rampart, feel the weight of history beneath your feet, the sweat, the toil, the quiet courage of the builders who gave their strength to this enduring monument. Allow yourself to be carried on the gentle wind that whispers across the stones, a lullaby of resilience and silent devotion, guiding you softly toward restful sleep. As the sun rises over the rugged terrain of northern China, the daily life of the Great Wall's builders unfolds in quiet, steady rhythm, a testament to human endurance and collective effort spanning centuries. Imagine the chill of early morning mist giving way to warm sunlight as men and women gather to begin their labor, their breaths visible in the cool air as they prepare for the demanding tasks ahead. The construction of the Great Wall was no simple feat. It required immense organization, physical strength, and resilience. Visualize the vast teams of workers, ranging from soldiers to peasants and prisoners, each contributing their part to this monumental project. Some quarried stone from nearby cliffs, heaving massive blocks onto carts, while others mixed lime and sand to create mortar, the glue that would bind the stones together for generations. The terrain was often unforgiving. Steep mountains, arid deserts, and dense forests challenged the builders daily. Picture workers navigating rocky paths, balancing heavy loads over narrow ledges, their hands calloused and bodies weary, but driven by a shared purpose. Life on the wall was austere and harsh. Imagine the simple meals eaten hastily between shifts, grains, vegetables, and sometimes small portions of meat, fueling the workers as they pushed through exhaustion and injury. Night brought little respite. The cold air seeped into bones as men huddled near fires, sharing stories in hushed tones, finding comfort and companionship beneath the vast sky. The wall was not merely a physical barrier, but a living project, continually maintained and expanded over centuries. Visualize the changes through dynasties, the Ming, Qin, and others, each adding their own sections, rebuilding damaged parts, and innovating construction techniques to strengthen the sprawling defense. Beyond the labor, the wall held deep cultural and symbolic significance. It represented the determination to protect the empire from northern invasions and a unifying symbol of imperial strength. Picture the watchtowers, rising like silent guardians over the horizon, where soldiers kept vigilant watch, their eyes scanning for signs of approaching threats. The construction also influenced the lives of nearby villages. Imagine farmers, merchants, and craftsmen whose livelihoods became intertwined with the wall, supplying materials, food, and services to the builders and soldiers stationed along this vast frontier. Despite its scale and importance, the wall's builders often remained anonymous, their stories lost to time. Yet their silent sacrifice endures in the stones and earth beneath your feet, a testament to collective effort and resilience. As you stand on this ancient structure in your imagination, feel the strength and stillness that emanate from its massive stones, echoes of thousands of hands and hearts that labored in quiet devotion. Let the soft breeze carrying the whispers of history lull you gently into a peaceful, restorative sleep beneath the endless sky. Imagine the relentless sun beating down on the vast stretches of rugged land where the Great Wall snakes over hills and valleys, a monumental achievement born of human will and sweat. The workers, soldiers, peasants, convicts, endured the hardships of brutal weather, heavy labor, and isolation to craft a fortress meant to protect an empire. Visualize the coordination required to orchestrate such a massive project. Caravans of stone and earth made their way along rough mountain paths and through narrow passes, while teams of masons and laborers worked tirelessly, each stroke of hammer and placement of brick, a note in a silent symphony of construction. The wall's builders came from many walks of life, some forced into service, others volunteering out of duty or hope for a better future. Imagine the shared human spirit that united these disparate groups, a silent determination underpinning the slow, steady progress of the wall's endless march. Life in the construction camps was austere and demanding. Picture the rough wooden huts where workers rested, the flicker of campfires at night, and the muted conversations that softened the loneliness of long days far from home. The workers faced dangers aplenty, falling rocks, treacherous terrain, and the ever-present risk of injury from heavy tools and materials. Imagine the grit and perseverance it took to keep going, fueled by a deep-seated sense of purpose and loyalty to their homeland. Over time, the wall evolved, a patchwork of stone, brick, tamped earth, and wood, each section reflecting the era and resources of its builders. Visualize the skilled artisans who crafted intricate bricks stamped with imperial seals, the engineers who designed watchtowers and battlements to maximize defense. The Great Wall also served as a communication network. Imagine signal fires lit atop towers, sending smoke and flame messages across vast distances to alert of approaching danger, a silent but powerful language binding distant garrisons. Beyond its military role, the wall influenced trade and cultural exchange. Picture merchants traversing guarded passes, caravans laden with silk, spices, and precious metals moving along the Silk Road under the protection of this colossal structure. Yet, despite the wall's grandeur and significance, the individual stories of its builders remain largely untold, silent voices lost in the sweep of history. Imagine the hands that shaped every stone, the backs that bore heavy loads, and the hearts that persevered, their legacy etched indelibly into the landscape. As you stand atop the wall in your mind's eye, feel the weight of history beneath your feet and the quiet strength of generations who built it. Let the soft whispers of the wind carry you gently toward a deep and peaceful sleep, cradled by the enduring spirit of the silent builders. As the afternoon sun casts long shadows across the rugged landscape, the Great Wall stands as a testament to the determination and sacrifice of countless generations of builders. Imagine the vast teams of laborers working in unison, men and women, soldiers and peasants, each contributing their strength and skill to shape this immense structure stretching across mountains and deserts. The daily routine of these silent builders was one of relentless effort, marked by long hours of physical toil and simple moments of respite. Visualize the workers hauling massive stones along narrow mountain paths, their muscles straining with the weight, their breath steady but exhausted, moving rhythmically as if part of a vast silent orchestra. The process of construction was both art and engineering. Picture skilled masons carefully fitting stones together without mortar in some sections, relying on precise craftsmanship to ensure stability, while in other parts, bricks and tamped earth were used to build thick, defensive walls. Life on the wall was harsh and often perilous. Imagine the cold winds biting through thin clothing during winter months, the scorching sun beating down mercilessly in summer, and the constant threat of accidents on precarious ledges and steep inclines. The workers lived in makeshift camps scattered along the wall's length, simple shelters constructed from wood and cloth, where families sometimes joined the laborers, adding a fragile sense of community amid the wilderness. Visualize the crackling of campfires at night, the soft murmur of whispered conversations, and the distant howls of wolves echoing through the valleys. Despite the hardships, the builders found moments of solace and even joy. Imagine them sharing songs and stories around the fire, their voices blending in the cool night air, strengthening bonds that helped them endure the demanding work. The wall was not only a physical barrier, but also a symbol of unity and strength for the empire. Picture the pride felt by those who worked on it, knowing their efforts protected their homeland and contributed to a legacy that would endure for centuries. In addition to defense, the wall served as a communication network, with watchtowers placed at regular intervals. Visualize soldiers stationed in these towers, scanning the horizon for signs of invasion, using smoke signals and beacon fires to relay messages quickly across vast distances. Trade and cultural exchange flourished along the wall's protected routes. Imagine merchants navigating mountain passes and fortified gates, carrying precious goods like silk, spices, and ceramics. The wall providing both security and a conduit for commerce. The stories of these silent builders, though often unrecorded, live on in the stones and earth of the Great Wall. Allow yourself to feel their presence, the sweat, the determination, the silent sacrifices made in service to a cause greater than themselves. As you stand atop the ancient ramparts in your imagination, feel the cool breeze brushing your skin and listen to the soft murmur of history carried on the wind. Let these whispers lull you gently into a peaceful, restorative sleep, embraced by the enduring spirit of the silent builders of the Great Wall. As the afternoon sun casts long shadows across the rugged landscape, the Great Wall stands as a testament to the determination and sacrifice of countless generations of builders. Imagine the vast teams of laborers working in unison, men and women, soldiers and peasants, each contributing their strength and skill to shape this immense structure stretching across mountains and deserts. The daily routine of these silent builders was one of relentless effort, marked by long hours of physical toil and simple moments of respite. Visualize the workers hauling massive stones along narrow mountain paths, their muscles straining with the weight, their breath steady but exhausted, moving rhythmically as if part of a vast, silent orchestra. The process of construction was both art and engineering. Picture skilled masons carefully fitting stones together without mortar in some sections, relying on precise craftsmanship to ensure stability, while in other parts, bricks and tamped earth were used to build thick, defensive walls. Life on the wall was harsh and often perilous. Imagine the cold winds biting through thin clothing during winter months, the scorching sun beating down mercilessly in summer, and the constant threat of accidents on precarious ledges and steep inclines. The workers lived in makeshift camps scattered along the wall's length, simple shelters constructed from wood and cloth, where families sometimes joined the laborers, adding a fragile sense of community amid the wilderness. Visualize the crackling of campfires at night, the soft murmur of whispered conversations, and the distant howls of wolves echoing through the valleys. Despite the hardships, the builders found moments of solace and even joy. Imagine them sharing songs and stories around the fire, their voices blending in the cool night air, strengthening bonds that helped them endure the demanding work. The wall was not only a physical barrier, but also a symbol of unity and strength for the empire. Picture the pride felt by those who worked on it, knowing their efforts protected their homeland and contributed to a legacy that would endure for centuries. In addition to defense, the wall served as a communication network, with watchtowers placed at regular intervals. Visualize soldiers stationed in these towers, scanning the horizon for signs of invasion, using smoke signals and beacon fires to relay messages quickly across vast distances. Trade and cultural exchange flourished along the wall's protected routes. Imagine merchants navigating mountain passes and fortified gates, carrying precious goods like silk, spices, and ceramics, the wall providing both security and a conduit for commerce. The stories of these silent builders, though often unrecorded, live on in the stones and earth of the Great Wall. Allow yourself to feel their presence, the sweat, the determination, the silent sacrifices made in service to a cause greater than themselves. As you stand atop the ancient ramparts in your imagination, feel the cool breeze brushing your skin and listen to the soft murmur of history carried on the wind. Let these whispers lull you gently into a peaceful, restorative sleep, embraced by the enduring spirit of the silent builders of the Great Wall. As twilight descends over the mountainous horizons where the Great Wall stretches endlessly, the day's labor of the silent builders draws to a close. Imagine the fading light casting long shadows upon the rugged stones, the workers gathering their tools and tending to their simple camps scattered along the vast fortification. The life of a wall builder was one of perseverance and resilience, a daily battle against fatigue, weather, and the challenges of the terrain. Visualize the exhausted yet determined faces of men and women, their hands rough and scarred, moving with practiced motions to secure their shelter and prepare for the night's rest. Despite the hardships, the builders maintained a quiet dignity and an unspoken bond forged through shared toil and hardship. Picture them sitting around flickering fires, exchanging stories, songs, and moments of laughter that lightened the weight of their burdens. The Great Wall was not only a defensive barrier, but a living, breathing symbol of the empire's strength and unity. Imagine the pride swelling in the hearts of those who contributed to its creation, knowing their efforts would stand the test of time and protect their homeland from distant threats. The watchtowers perched at regular intervals along the wall served as both lookout points and safe havens for the workers and soldiers. Visualize the guards scanning the horizon from these vantage points, their eyes sharp and vigilant, ready to signal danger with smoke by day and fire by night. Trade caravans passed through the fortified gates, bringing goods and news from distant lands, weaving a thread of connection through the vast empire. Imagine merchants navigating the guarded passes, their camels laden with silk, spices, and precious metals, moving steadily beneath the watchful gaze of the wall's defenders. The wall's construction spanned centuries, its stones holding countless stories of sacrifice, hardship, and hope. Picture the generations of families who lived and worked along its length, their lives intertwined with the ebb and flow of history that shaped this monumental edifice. Though many names have been lost to time, the silent builder's legacy remains immortal in the massive stones and earth beneath your feet. Allow yourself to feel their presence, the sweat, the courage, and the unwavering spirit that shaped one of the greatest wonders of the ancient world. As the stars emerge in the clear night sky, let the whispers of the past soothe your mind, carrying you gently into a peaceful and restorative sleep. Embrace the quiet strength of the silent builders of the Great Wall, whose tireless efforts continue to stand as a testament to human endurance and unity. As night falls softly over the sprawling expanse of the Great Wall, the quiet world of its builders settles into a peaceful rhythm, a moment of rest amid the immense demands of their monumental task. Imagine the stars twinkling overhead, the cool mountain air filled with the gentle sounds of the wilderness, rustling leaves, distant owls, and the soft murmur of night breezes sweeping across the ancient stones. The laborers, soldiers, and families who live and work along the wall retreat to their modest shelters, simple wooden huts or tents pitched near their work sites. Visualize the flickering glow of oil lamps illuminating small rooms where worn faces relax, the day's weariness melting away in the quiet comfort of shared warmth and companionship. Life on the Great Wall was harsh and unforgiving, marked by the extremes of weather and the constant physical strain of construction. Picture workers tending small fires to ward off the cold, mending tools, and preparing humble meals of rice, vegetables, and sometimes dried meat, sustaining themselves for the work that lies ahead. Though the labor was difficult, the community that formed around the wall was tight-knit and resilient. Imagine the soft laughter of children playing near the camps, the murmured prayers of the faithful seeking protection and strength, and the bonds forged through shared hardship and hope. The builder's work was both practical and symbolic, a testament to the empire's determination to protect its borders and to the enduring spirit of its people. Visualize the immense scale of the project, with workers coordinating their efforts across vast distances, passing down knowledge and techniques through generations. Each stone laid, each brick placed, was an act of devotion, a silent pledge to the future, a legacy carved into the very landscape. Picture the precision and care taken by masons, shaping each piece to fit seamlessly into the wall's massive structure, their craftsmanship a bridge between the past and the present. Beyond construction, the wall served as a stage for countless human stories: soldiers on guard, families raising children, travelers finding refuge. Imagine the quiet moments of reflection as workers gazed across the distant horizon, contemplating the vastness of the land they helped defend. The Great Wall also served as a cultural crossroads, where ideas, traditions, and goods from distant regions mingled under its watchful presence. Picture caravans making their way along protected routes, traders exchanging silk, spices, and stories, weaving a rich tapestry of human connection across the empire. As you envision the silent builders resting beneath the starry sky, allow their strength and perseverance to inspire a calm and restful state within you. Let the gentle whispers of history and the steady heartbeat of the wall carry you softly into deep, restorative sleep, wrapped in the timeless embrace of human endurance and quiet dedication. As the moon casts its pale light over the winding path of the Great Wall, the builder's world settles into a quiet stillness, a moment of respite in the endless story of endurance and dedication. Imagine the soft rustle of leaves stirred by a gentle night breeze, the distant call of nocturnal creatures echoing through the valleys, and the faint glow of fires flickering in scattered camps along the wall's length. The laborers rest in humble shelters, simple structures built from wood, stone, and cloth, where the day's fatigue melts into dreams beneath thin blankets. Visualize the tired faces of workers softened in sleep, their bodies replenishing strength for the tasks awaiting with the dawn's first light. Life on the Great Wall was a cycle of labor and rest, challenge and renewal, each day marked by the unbroken rhythm of human effort. Picture the workers' tools laid carefully by their side: hammers, chisels, ropes, and baskets, silent reminders of the monumental work undertaken. The construction of the wall was a feat of both physical strength and intricate planning. Imagine the engineers and overseers walking the rugged terrain, mapping out sections to be built or repaired, coordinating teams, and solving problems posed by the natural landscape. Skilled masons shaped bricks with precise care, each piece crafted to fit perfectly within the growing fortress. Visualize the patterns etched into the bricks, the subtle variations in color and texture, the artistry woven into the very fabric of the wall. The wall served as a guardian of the empire, a silent sentinel watching over borders and connecting distant lands. Picture the watchtowers rising like stone sentinels, their windows gazing out over vast stretches of wilderness and mountains, where soldiers kept tireless vigil. Beyond defense, the wall influenced the lives of those who lived nearby. Farmers, traders, and families whose daily rhythms intertwined with the presence of this immense structure. Imagine children playing in the shadow of the wall, merchants traveling through guarded passes, and communities bound by the protection and purpose the wall provided. The silent builders, though often forgotten in history's grand narratives, left an indelible mark, a legacy etched in stone and earth, standing as a testament to human resilience. Allow yourself to feel the strength and quiet courage of these countless nameless hands, working together to create something vast and enduring. As you stand on this ancient rampart in your mind, feel the cool night air against your skin and the steady heartbeat of history beneath your feet. Let the soft whispers of the past carry you gently into a deep and peaceful sleep, cradled by the timeless spirit of the silent builders of the Great Wall. As the night deepens over the endless stretches of the Great Wall, a profound silence blankets the rugged landscape, a quiet pause in the relentless efforts of the builders who have shaped this monumental testament to human resilience. Imagine the pale moonlight casting soft shadows over ancient stones, the stars twinkling high above, their distant glow reflecting the vastness of history and the passage of time. The camps scattered along the wall settle into stillness, the flickering light of lanterns slowly dimming as the workers rest their weary bodies after days filled with tireless labor. Visualize the gentle murmur of whispered prayers carried on the cool night breeze, the soothing sounds of nature enveloping the solitude of these remote outposts. Despite the hardships endured, a spirit of quiet determination endures among the builders, a collective strength born from shared sacrifice and unyielding purpose. Picture the camaraderie forged through hardship, the silent encouragements exchanged as the workers face harsh weather, difficult terrain, and the ever-present dangers of their task. The wall itself stands as a symbol of unity and defense, a physical manifestation of a civilization's will to protect its people and heritage. Imagine the intricate construction techniques employed, layers of tamped earth, carefully laid bricks, and towering watchtowers, all combining to create an imposing barrier against potential invaders. The builders' lives were intertwined with the rhythms of the natural world. Harsh winters blanketing the mountains in snow, scorching summers testing their endurance, and sudden storms challenging their progress. Visualize the resilience required to press on amid these extremes. Each stone laid a silent testament to human fortitude. Beyond the physical labor, the Great Wall influenced culture and commerce, guarding trade routes and facilitating the movement of goods and ideas across vast distances. Imagine caravans laden with silk, spices, and treasures winding through mountain passes, their journeys safeguarded by the watchful presence of the wall. Though many details of the builders' lives remain lost to time, their legacy endures, etched into the very fabric of the wall that stretches across the landscape. Allow yourself to connect with the silent echoes of their efforts, the sweat, the pain, the hope, that have shaped one of the world's most enduring monuments. As you stand in your mind upon the ancient stones, feel the cool night air caress your skin, hear the distant call of night birds, and let the tranquil whispers of history lull you gently into a deep and restful sleep. Embrace the quiet strength and timeless devotion of the silent builders of the Great Wall as you drift softly into peaceful slumber under the vast, star-studded sky. As the night deepens, the vast expanse of the Great Wall lies quiet beneath a canopy of stars, its ancient stones steeped in the stories of countless builders whose hands shaped this monumental structure. Imagine the cool mountain air carrying faint whispers of their labor, echoes of hammer against stone, the shuffle of feet along rugged paths, and the quiet murmur of camaraderie that softened the harshness of their daily toil. These silent builders came from all walks of life, peasants, soldiers, prisoners, and together they formed a community bound by shared purpose and unwavering resilience. Visualize them gathering in small groups around flickering campfires, their faces illuminated by warm flames, exchanging stories and songs that bridged the distance between exhaustion and hope. The construction of the Great Wall was an immense feat of engineering, requiring not only physical strength, but also precise planning and skill. Picture the engineers surveying the rugged terrain, plotting the course of the wall to follow mountain ridges and natural barriers, using ingenuity to overcome the challenges posed by the landscape. Masons and laborers worked in unison, cutting stone, shaping bricks, mixing mortar, with meticulous care to ensure the wall's stability and endurance. Imagine the delicate balance of art and function in every brick laid, each a small but vital part of the larger fortress that would protect an empire. The wall's watchtowers rose at regular intervals, standing sentinel over the land and serving as beacons of vigilance. Visualize the soldiers stationed in these towers, their eyes scanning the horizon for any sign of danger, ready to signal their comrades with smoke by day and fire by night. Life along the wall was difficult and isolated, yet the builders found strength in their community and faith. Picture moments of quiet prayer and meditation, the spiritual solace that helped sustain them through long days and harsh conditions. The Great Wall was more than a military fortification. It was a symbol of unity, a testament to the perseverance and determination of the Chinese people. Imagine the pride that must have filled the hearts of the builders, knowing their labor was part of something far greater than themselves, a legacy that would endure through the ages. Trade and cultural exchange flourished under the wall's protection, as merchants and travelers traversed its guarded passes, carrying goods and ideas across vast distances. Visualize caravans winding through mountain gates, their journeys safeguarded by the enduring presence of the wall. Though many names are lost to history, the silent builder's spirit lives on in every stone and brick, a timeless tribute to human endurance and collaboration. As you stand upon this ancient structure in your mind's eye, feel the weight of their legacy beneath your feet and the quiet strength that has echoed through centuries. Let the gentle whispers of history soothe your mind and guide you gently into a deep, peaceful sleep, cradled by the enduring spirit of the silent builders of the Great Wall. As dawn gently breaks over the sprawling mountainous horizon, the Great Wall of China stands silent yet steadfast, a colossal monument built by countless hands whose stories are woven into the very stones beneath your feet. Imagine the first rays of sunlight casting a warm golden glow over the ancient fortress, illuminating the rugged paths and watchtowers that have withstood the test of time for centuries. The silent builders of the wall, peasants, soldiers, craftsmen, and prisoners, have long since faded into the mists of history, their names unrecorded, but their legacy immortalized in this magnificent structure. Picture the scenes of their daily lives, hands calloused from labor, backs bent under the weight of heavy stones, faces weathered by sun and wind, yet eyes burning with quiet determination and hope. Their work was not merely construction, but an act of profound devotion and collective strength, a testament to the human spirit's resilience in the face of overwhelming challenges. Visualize the meticulous care with which each brick was laid, the rhythmic pounding of hammers and chisels echoing through mountain passes, and the silent prayers whispered beneath the vast, open sky. Life along the wall was harsh and often lonely, marked by seasons of blistering heat and biting cold. Yet the builders found moments of connection and solace in their shared purpose. Imagine evenings around campfires, stories and songs passing between tired workers, their voices weaving a tapestry of camaraderie that softened the solitude of their remote outposts. The Great Wall served not only as a defense, but also as a bridge, connecting distant lands, facilitating trade, and fostering cultural exchange along the Silk Road. Picture caravans laden with silk, spices, and precious goods winding their way through guarded passes, their journeys safeguarded by the steadfast presence of the wall. Though centuries have passed, the spirit of the silent builders endures, etched in the weathered stones, carried on the mountain winds, and preserved in the collective memory of a nation. Allow yourself to be embraced by this enduring legacy, feeling the quiet strength and unwavering dedication that shaped one of the world's greatest wonders. As you stand atop the ancient ramparts in your imagination, breathe deeply of the crisp mountain air and listen to the soft murmur of history, whispering through the stones. Let the timeless devotion and silent courage of these builders guide you gently into a deep and peaceful sleep, wrapped in the calm embrace of the Great Wall's eternal watch. And so we have reached the end of our journey with the silent builders of the Great Wall of China. Thank you for joining me in this peaceful reflection on resilience and legacy. Now, let us continue our Boring History for Sleep series with a quiet exploration of cultures fading into silence, the vanishing languages of the Amazon tribes. Find a comfortable place to relax and let the gentle flow of the story carry you softly into restful slumber. Imagine yourself deep within the vast and dense Amazon rainforest, where sunlight filters softly through a thick canopy of emerald leaves, casting dappled shadows on the forest floor. The air is thick with the scents of earth, wet wood, and blooming flowers, accompanied by the gentle rustle of leaves and the distant calls of exotic birds and insects. Here, amid the towering trees and winding rivers, live some of the world's most diverse and ancient cultures, the indigenous tribes of the Amazon. These communities have thrived for thousands of years, their lives intricately woven with the rhythms of the forest and the knowledge passed down through generations. Central to their identity is language, a living vessel of history, tradition, and connection to the land. Imagine dozens, perhaps hundreds, of unique languages spoken here, each rich with its own sounds, rhythms, and stories, a symphony of human expression nestled within the jungle's depths. Yet as the world outside encroaches, through deforestation, modernization, and cultural assimilation, these languages face an uncertain future. Picture elders speaking in tongues their grandchildren no longer understand, children learning dominant national languages instead, and ancient words fading like whispers in the wind. The loss of a language is more than just the disappearance of words. It is the fading of entire worldviews, knowledge systems, and cultural identities. Imagine the stories, songs, and wisdom tied to the forest, its plants, animals, and spirits. Tales told in languages that encapsulate centuries of lived experience. Anthropologists and linguists have journeyed into the Amazon to document and preserve these endangered languages, working alongside tribes to record vocabularies, grammar, and oral histories. Visualize researchers sitting by campfires, listening intently as elders recount myths and histories, capturing the nuances of pronunciation and meaning with gentle care. Despite these efforts, many languages have already vanished, and others teeter on the brink of extinction. Imagine the silence left behind where vibrant conversations once flowed, a cultural void as profound as the physical clearing of the forest itself. The survival of these languages depends on revitalization efforts, education, and respect for indigenous cultures and their rights to self-determination. Picture children learning to speak their ancestral tongue again, families reclaiming songs and ceremonies, and communities strengthening their bonds through language. As you immerse yourself in this world of linguistic diversity and fragile beauty, allow the gentle sounds of the rainforest and the echoes of fading voices to guide you into a peaceful, restful sleep. Let the whispered stories of the Amazon's vanishing languages cradle your mind, carrying you softly into dreams beneath the vast, starry sky. As you continue your imagined journey deeper into the heart of the Amazon rainforest, the sounds of the jungle grow richer and more complex. The calls of howler monkeys echo through the canopy, the flutter of colorful birds paints the air with motion, and the distant rush of a winding river offers a constant, soothing rhythm. Within this vibrant world lives a tapestry of indigenous tribes, each with its own distinct language, culture, and traditions. A mosaic of human diversity woven into the fabric of the forest itself. Imagine the languages spoken here as living libraries, each one a repository of knowledge about the plants, animals, rivers, and skies that sustain the people. The words themselves carry more than meaning. They embody relationships with nature, spiritual beliefs, and social structures that have evolved over millennia. Yet this incredible linguistic richness is under grave threat. Visualize vast stretches of forest cleared for logging, mining, and agriculture, once vibrant tribal lands now fragmented and vulnerable. The encroachment of roads and settlements brings with it dominant national languages, schooling systems that prioritize Portuguese or Spanish, and a shift away from ancestral tongues. In many communities, elders struggle to pass on their language to younger generations who are drawn toward the wider world and its promises. Imagine children speaking with their peers in more widely used languages, their connection to their heritage slowly loosening with each passing day. Language loss in the Amazon is also a loss of ecological knowledge. Indigenous terms describe plants and animals, with precision and nuance that scientific classification often lacks. Picture a word in one tribe's language that captures the unique color, smell, and medicinal use of a single leaf. Knowledge passed down through generations, now at risk of vanishing. Despite these challenges, there is hope. Communities and organizations are working together to revive and preserve these languages through education, cultural programs, and technology. Imagine classrooms where children learn to read and write in their native tongue alongside the national language, where elders are honored as living libraries of wisdom. Technological tools such as audio recordings, digital archives, and language apps are aiding preservation efforts, capturing stories, songs, and conversations before they disappear. Visualize the faces of young Indigenous people recording their grandparents' stories on smartphones, creating bridges between past and future. Respect for Indigenous rights and land stewardship plays a crucial role in sustaining both culture and language. Imagine empowered communities protecting their forests, reclaiming their traditions, and strengthening their identities through the language that binds them. As you rest within this vast living world of the Amazon, let the chorus of jungle sounds and the whispered echoes of ancient tongues lull you gently toward a peaceful sleep. Allow yourself to be cradled by the fragile beauty of these vanishing languages, their stories a soothing balm beneath the endless canopy of stars. Deep within the lush heart of the Amazon rainforest, the lives of its indigenous peoples have been intricately shaped by the languages they speak. A delicate web of words and meanings that connect them to their environment, history, and spirituality. Imagine the sun filtering softly through the dense canopy, lighting up the vibrant greens of ferns and towering trees, while the sounds of the forest, bird calls, rustling leaves, and distant waterfalls compose a gentle symphony around you. In these remote communities, language is far more than a means of communication. It is a living embodiment of cultural identity, encapsulating traditional knowledge about medicinal plants, hunting practices, seasonal cycles, and ancestral stories passed down through countless generations. Visualize an elder recounting a myth in their native tongue, the story weaving together the natural and spiritual worlds, teaching lessons of respect and coexistence with the forest. Yet these rich linguistic tapestries are unraveling rapidly. As modernization and external influences reach deeper into the forest, younger generations increasingly adopt dominant national languages like Portuguese or Spanish, often at the expense of their native tongues. Imagine the quiet heartbreak of elders watching their languages fade, their voices the last to carry ancient words into the night. This loss is not merely academic. It carries profound consequences for cultural survival. Languages encode unique worldviews and values, framing how communities perceive and interact with their surroundings. Picture a language that contains multiple words for different kinds of rain, each with distinct meanings affecting agricultural practices and spiritual ceremonies. Knowledge that risks disappearing as the language itself vanishes. Linguists and anthropologists have dedicated themselves to documenting and preserving these endangered languages. Imagine them working patiently alongside tribal elders, recording conversations, compiling dictionaries, and creating educational materials to keep the languages alive. Yet, true preservation depends on community engagement and revitalization efforts, not just academic study. Across the Amazon, language revitalization programs are blossoming, blending tradition with innovation. Visualize classrooms where children learn their ancestral language alongside the dominant national tongue, empowered to reconnect with their heritage through stories, songs, and everyday speech. Technology has become a vital tool in these efforts. Audio recordings, mobile apps, and digital archives create accessible platforms for language learning and cultural exchange. Picture a young Indigenous woman recording her grandmother's tales on a smartphone, sharing them with her community and beyond, bridging generations through technology. Respect for Indigenous autonomy and land rights is crucial in supporting these linguistic and cultural revivals. Imagine communities reclaiming stewardship of their ancestral territories, revitalizing languages as they renew their bonds with the land, nature, and each other. As you envision this world of fragile beauty and enduring spirit, let the soft rhythms of the rainforest and the gentle murmur of ancient voices lull you toward a deep and peaceful sleep. Allow yourself to be cradled by the vanishing languages of the Amazon tribes, their stories a soothing lullaby beneath the endless canopy of stars. As you journey deeper into the verdant heart of the Amazon, The importance of language becomes increasingly clear, not just as a tool for communication, but as a vital thread weaving together the fabric of life for countless indigenous communities. Imagine the complexity and richness of the languages spoken here, each one a unique reflection of the people's relationship to the land, the animals, the spirits, and the cosmos. In these languages, the natural world is alive with meaning. Picture words that describe the colors of birds in exquisite detail, terms for rivers and mountains that carry stories of creation, and expressions for seasons that govern hunting, planting, and gathering cycles. Each word holds a piece of ancient wisdom, a key to understanding how generations lived in harmony with the forest rhythms. Yet this profound connection faces a dire threat as many Amazonian languages edge toward extinction. Visualize the younger generation, drawn away by the promises of urban life and the necessity of learning dominant national languages, sometimes losing fluency in their ancestral tongues. The erosion of language brings with it the fading of identity, culture, and knowledge that have been nurtured for millennia. Efforts to preserve these languages are as varied as the tongues themselves. Imagine indigenous activists and elders working tirelessly to teach children their native speech, reviving traditional songs and ceremonies as a living classroom for language and culture. Across the Amazon, education initiatives blend modern methods with traditional practices, creating immersive environments where language and culture thrive. Picture a classroom under a canopy of trees, where children learn to write and speak in their mother tongue, while also gaining skills to navigate the broader world. The role of technology in these efforts cannot be overstated. Digital archives preserve thousands of hours of recorded stories, songs, and conversations, while mobile apps and online platforms offer accessible tools for language learning and community connection. Visualize a young indigenous coder developing an app to teach her language, empowering her people to reclaim and celebrate their heritage. The fight to save these languages is intertwined with the struggle for land rights and cultural recognition. Imagine communities defending their ancestral forests against illegal logging and mining, their languages echoing as a rallying cry for preservation, not just of words, but of a way of life. As you rest within this lush, breathing world of the Amazon, let the gentle cadence of native voices and the soft rustle of leaves carry you toward a serene and restorative sleep. Allow yourself to be embraced by the fragile beauty of the vanishing languages, their stories and songs a lullaby, beneath the vast, star-studded canopy of the rainforest. As the sun rises higher above the dense canopy of the Amazon rainforest, the intricate tapestry of life below continues its timeless dance, an orchestra of flora, fauna, and human culture bound together by the fragile thread of language. Imagine the rich diversity of the indigenous tribes scattered throughout this vast wilderness, each with their own unique language, traditions, and stories, woven into the very fabric of the forest. The languages spoken by these tribes are living archives of knowledge, repositories of wisdom about medicinal plants, hunting techniques, spiritual beliefs, and social customs. Visualize elders imparting tales that have been passed down for countless generations, each word steeped in meaning, each phrase a bridge connecting the past to the present. Yet these languages face an alarming threat from the relentless march of change. Picture the encroachment of roads, logging camps, and urban development, slowly fracturing the lands that have nurtured these cultures for millennia. Young people, drawn by the allure of modern life, often adopt national languages, leaving their ancestral tongues to fade into quiet obscurity. The loss of a language is a loss of identity and belonging. Imagine a child who no longer understands the songs of their ancestors, the prayers whispered under moonlit skies, or the names of the plants and animals that once filled their world with wonder and meaning. However, the story is not solely one of loss. Across the Amazon, dedicated efforts to revitalize and preserve these languages are blossoming, fueled by a growing recognition of their intrinsic value and the rights of indigenous peoples. Educational programs in native languages are emerging, blending traditional storytelling with modern teaching methods to engage younger generations. Picture a village school where children learn their mother tongue alongside the dominant national language, celebrating their heritage through music, art, and ritual. Technology plays an increasingly vital role in these endeavors. Digital archives store thousands of hours of recorded conversations, songs, and oral histories, preserving the voices of elders for future generations. Imagine a community radio station broadcasting programs in native languages, keeping the tongues alive across remote areas. The fight to preserve these languages is deeply connected to the struggle for cultural and territorial rights. Visualize indigenous leaders advocating for the protection of their lands, their languages echoing in the halls of governments and international organizations as symbols of cultural resilience. As you immerse yourself in this world of linguistic richness and fragility, let the gentle sounds of the rainforest and the soft echoes of ancient voices soothe your mind. Allow the stories of the vanishing languages of the Amazon tribes to cradle you gently into a deep and peaceful sleep beneath the vast starlit canopy of the jungle. In the quiet heart of the Amazon rainforest, where sunlight barely touches the ground and the air hums with the songs of countless creatures, the indigenous tribes live lives deeply entwined with the natural world around them. Imagine the intricate dance of daily life, fishing in winding rivers, gathering fruits and herbs, telling stories by firelight, each moment steeped in tradition and knowledge passed down through generations. Central to this existence is language, not merely as a means of communication, but as a living embodiment of identity, history, and connection. Visualize the many unique tongues spoken here, each with its own melodies, rhythms, and expressions that capture the essence of the tribe's experiences and worldview. Yet these languages face an unprecedented threat. Imagine the encroaching influence of the modern world, roads cutting through the forest, schools teaching only national languages, and young people drawn away from ancestral lands. Each day, more words fall silent, stories go untold, and cultural ties weaken as languages edge closer to extinction. The loss of a language is a profound loss of cultural heritage. Picture the deep wells of knowledge embedded in these languages, knowledge of plants that heal, animals that sustain, and spirits that guide. When a language disappears, so too does a unique way of seeing and understanding the world. But amid this challenge, there are sparks of hope. Across the Amazon, communities, linguists, and activists are joining forces to revive and protect these endangered languages. Imagine classrooms where elders teach children their native speech, blending traditional wisdom with new educational tools to foster a renewed sense of pride and belonging. Technology has become a powerful ally in these efforts. Picture digital recordings preserving songs and stories, mobile apps helping younger generations learn their mother tongues, and online platforms connecting dispersed communities in celebration of their linguistic heritage. Respect for indigenous rights and autonomy is crucial in this work. Imagine tribal leaders advocating for their peoples, fighting to protect ancestral lands, and nurturing the cultural practices that sustain their languages. As you breathe in the sounds and stories of the Amazon, allow the gentle murmur of these vanishing languages to envelop you, soothing your mind and spirit. Let the fragile beauty and enduring strength of these voices guide you softly into a deep and peaceful sleep beneath the vast, starry canopy of the rainforest. As the dense canopy of the Amazon rainforest stretches endlessly above, a world of stories and voices thrives beneath, some vibrant and alive, others fading quietly like the soft rustling of leaves in a gentle breeze. Imagine wandering through this ancient forest, where every step reveals layers of history, culture, and language woven intricately into the landscape. The indigenous languages spoken here are treasures of human diversity, each one a complex system carrying centuries of wisdom about the land, the plants, and the spirits that inhabit the forest. Picture a tribe gathered around a fire, elders sharing stories in their native tongue, each word painting vivid pictures of creation myths, ancestral heroes, and lessons for living in harmony with nature. Yet the survival of these languages is precarious. Visualize the younger generation caught between worlds, torn between the traditional ways of their ancestors and the modern influences of national societies. With schools teaching in Portuguese or Spanish and economic pressures pushing communities toward cities, native tongues face decline and extinction. The loss of a language is akin to the loss of an entire worldview. Imagine words that describe specific plants used in healing rituals, terms that convey the subtle shifts in seasons, or expressions that articulate spiritual beliefs unique to a single tribe, each vanishing with the language itself. Despite these challenges, revitalization efforts are gaining momentum. Imagine indigenous communities reclaiming their languages through education programs, cultural festivals, and the integration of modern technology. Picture young people using smartphones to record and share traditional songs, bridging the gap between past and present, old and new. The role of linguists and anthropologists remains vital, working respectfully with communities to document and support language preservation. Visualize collaborative workshops where elders teach their language to younger generations, while researchers create dictionaries, grammars, and digital archives. The struggle to maintain linguistic diversity is deeply connected to the broader fight for indigenous rights and environmental protection. Imagine tribal leaders advocating for their lands, their languages serving as powerful symbols of identity and sovereignty. As you immerse yourself in the sounds and stories of the Amazon, allow the gentle murmur of these vanishing languages to calm your mind and spirit. Let the fragile beauty of this linguistic heritage cradle you softly into a deep and restorative sleep beneath the vast starlit canopy of the rainforest. In the quiet embrace of the Amazon rainforest, where the canopy filters sunlight into a mosaic of green and gold, the indigenous peoples have for millennia preserved a rich tapestry of languages, each one a window into unique worlds of meaning, tradition, and connection. Imagine the delicate balance of life here, where every word spoken carries the weight of generations, a link to ancestors, and a map to understanding the forest's mysteries. These languages are far more than mere communication. They are the heartbeats of cultures, encoding knowledge about the plants that heal, the animals that sustain, and the spirits that guide. Picture an elder's voice rising in the twilight, weaving stories that explain the cycles of the moon, the flight of birds, or the secrets of medicinal herbs, tales told in languages shaped by the very landscape they describe. Yet this vibrant linguistic heritage is fading, imperiled by forces both visible and unseen. Imagine roads slicing through pristine forest, bringing outside influences that shift social dynamics and erode traditional ways. Visualize children learning Portuguese or Spanish in schools, far from their tribal homes, their ancestral tongues slipping quietly from daily use. The disappearance of a language means the loss of irreplaceable cultural treasures. Think of the subtle distinctions lost, words for shades of green unseen in other tongues, expressions for feelings and relationships deeply embedded in local customs. Each lost language takes with it a worldview, a way of understanding life itself. Despite this, hope flickers through revitalization efforts led by indigenous communities and allies. Imagine classrooms filled with laughter and song, where children learn their native language alongside modern education, rediscovering pride in their heritage. Picture community gatherings where traditional ceremonies are revived, the old languages ringing once more in sacred spaces. Technology offers new tools for preservation. Visualize young people recording elders' stories on smartphones, creating digital libraries accessible to future generations worldwide. Imagine apps designed to teach endangered languages, blending tradition with innovation to bridge the past and present. The fight to save these languages is inseparable from the struggle for land rights and cultural sovereignty. Picture tribal leaders standing firm against deforestation and exploitation, their voices carrying the power of their ancestors and the hopes of their descendants. As you drift through this ancient world in your imagination, let the gentle rustling of leaves and the soft cadence of fading languages soothe your mind and spirit. Allow the fragile beauty of the Amazon's vanishing tongues to cradle you into a deep, restorative sleep beneath the endless star-studded canopy of the rainforest. As the first light of dawn gently filters through the dense foliage of the Amazon rainforest, a new day begins. A day filled with the enduring spirit of the indigenous peoples whose languages carry the weight of centuries. Imagine the forest awakening around you, the soft stir of animals, the rustle of leaves in the morning breeze, and the distant murmur of a river weaving through the landscape like a silver thread. The languages spoken here are more than words. They are living vessels of culture, identity, and memory, embodying the intimate connection between people and the land they have called home for millennia. Visualize elders and children together, voices rising in song and story, the rhythms of their native tongues echoing through the trees as they pass knowledge from one generation to the next. How? Despite the threats of extinction, the resilience of these communities shines brightly. Imagine grassroots movements led by indigenous youth, revitalizing their languages with passion and creativity, combining ancient traditions with modern technology to ensure their voices are heard far beyond the forest's edge. Efforts to document and preserve these languages have created rich archives of stories, songs, and histories. safeguarding a legacy for the future. Picture digital libraries filled with recordings of elders' voices, animated by the vibrant expressions of culture and spirituality that only language can convey. The survival of these languages is deeply intertwined with the protection of the Amazon itself. Visualize communities standing as stewards of their forests, their languages acting as powerful symbols of identity and guardianship in the face of environmental challenges. As you stand in your imagination amidst this vast and vibrant world, feel the weight and wonder of the stories held within each language, the threads of human experience connecting past, present, and future. Let the gentle cadence of these voices lull you into a peaceful, restorative sleep, wrapped in the timeless embrace of the Amazon's vanishing languages. May the whispered stories and songs of these tribes guide you softly beneath the endless canopy of stars, carrying you into dreams filled with the beauty and resilience of cultures that refuse to be forgotten. ChatGPT Danai. Hello everyone. Thank you so much for watching until the very end. I truly appreciate you spending time with me exploring these meaningful and deep stories. I wish you wake up feeling healthy, happy, and full of energy for a wonderful new day. See you again in the next videos. Goodbye and take care.